Hello one and all and welcome back to a MaxN'Mate Death Battle discussion. I'm your only mate and with me as always is...
Max a few trades, and we do not have an established intro for whatever this is supposed to be.
Yeah, kind of.
It's okay, we're winging it, we're just having fun.
Yeah.
I say as I'm literally playing with Funko Pops. They're all over my desk. Oh my god.
Would you say they're fun, Co?
Yes, I would. I think that's why they're called that.
Maybe.
I think that's the whole point.
Yeah,
So anyway, we're here to talk about Death Battle.
Yeah, last time we spoke about it was a particular episode, but three more have come out since. They're on a hiatus, and I got a little inspired about a certain topic because of a video I found, and let's not go into that.
A bad video.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about a little something after these 3 episodes.
So then, I suppose we could just jump right into it.
Yep. Iron Fist versus Poe.
Or Poe versus Iron Fist, as most people called it, because that sounds better, and we don't know why they changed it.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a reason, I just don't know what it was. Maybe they thought that the Poe analysis just made sense to happen secondary? It's hard to say, but I feel like that is something they take into consideration, because the order is always, the order they do the analysis in. So doing the stronger or weaker one in the first or the second slot, maybe it helps flow better. It's hard to say, but I feel like there must have been some kind of reason.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the process of making anything, so...
I have a general idea, but not super intricate, because that was never my department. Other than writing a few lines for Johnny Cage and Captain Falcon.
Oh yeah, you guys did do that. Yeah,
that was an entirely research, crowdsourced script for that one. So I'm the one who made Boomstick a fan of Johnny Cage movies, so I got that going for me.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but anyway, we're talking about Iron Fist and Poe. And that was a pretty solid episode. Way better than you'd think it would just by saying it. And I feel like a lot of people... I feel like even some people who have watched Kung Fu Panda, they heard that and they were like, really? Because it is, outside looking in, an patentedly absurd idea.
It kind of is, just because you're thinking, okay, here's Iron Fist, a Marvel Comics hero. It's like, okay, who's he fighting? Yeah. A talking panda.
The Kung Fu Panda. That's the panda. Yo. So that was a thing. And it's not like, oh, I could never see Poe in Death Battle. That alone is the silly part. No, I could have always seen them use him. It's just the fact that they put him up against somebody who could be considered a more serious character. Marvel Comics can get silly, sure, but, Danny Rand is a bit more out there. He's a bit more grounded, for lack of a better term. I know he's a kung fu skeleton sometimes, but I calls it like I sees it.
I never knew he did that.
Me neither. I'll be real with you.
Hey, maybe if that were in the Netflix show, people could have thought, oh man, that was cool.
I think the Netflix show needed a better actor for Iron Fist and better fight scenes.
Yeah, that too. But
I know we're not scared. I'm just gonna get into the one aspect, and that really is, if you're gonna have a show about a martial artist, you really do need great choreography. Like with characters like Daredevil and Luke Cage, you can get away with more simplistic or street fight sort of situations, but the main character's whole gimmick is he's a master of every martial art ever. You really do got to make that work for you.
Yeah.
But that being said, I always thought Iron Fist was a cool character, and it's a bummer, because I saw this, and I'm like, wow, I kind of want Iron Fist to win, so people can actually think he's cool and respect him slightly. But on the other hand, it's the Kung Fu Panda, I'm voting for him.
Yeah, that's something I gotta, give props for this episode with. It's just, Iron Fist has kind of been, the Death Battle crew's, the butt of their jokes.
Butt monkey, whipping boy, whatever you want to call it.
They made a DBX just to kill him. They put him at #1 for Avengers for Thanos to kill in Infinity War, just because we hate the Netflix show, just kill him.
Goddamn, that's not the character's fault. He doesn't deserve this.
Yeah, but, they painted him in a really great light in this episode. They didn't bash on the Netflix series in any way. They didn't even show footage. No, they did not show footage from it.
Yeah, like, I don't think they even did that, which, I mean, they didn't have to, because thankfully he has enough animated show appearances to not have to do comic book panels the entire time, so that's good.
Yeah, although their comic book panel editing is still really good.
Yeah, no, Nick has truly, absolutely gone insane. I don't know if I've ever actually specifically pointed this out, but he officially got rehired back onto the show.
Which I was so happy about.
And so was I, because he's a really super nice guy.
I can't confirm. Like, we met him in Austin.
Yeah, no, he is an outrageously kind person. Like, and he even like sends me direct messages on Twitter every now and then, just checking in on me. And I'm like, damn,
that's so nice.
I know, he's a super nice guy. So I'm really glad he got a stable job again, and he's doing so good. He's the entire reason all of like. Anytime you see like a comic book or manga character and their panels go around, and you'll notice that the editing isn't just the panel moving around anymore. It's like actual animation and super effects going on. Like that's Nick.
Like,
he's the one.
When in Lex versus Doom, they show Lex's fist shaking. Like, I'm so angry at Superboy for making me bald.
Yeah, he did that. So he's really good at it, and he's really making it work. So that's great, because that always was a small issue. It was never a big issue, but it goes a long way.
Yeah, and, it shows on this episode as well.
Yeah, and as I said in my reaction, when I saw the fight get announced, I was like, well, it's time for me to finally watch the Kung Fu Panda movies, because I never had, and they are very good.
I never got around to the third one. And when this was announced, everyone was saying, like, I didn't like the third one. And I'm just like,
yeah,
well,
I was literally about to bring that up. Yeah, I was throwing this out there. All I heard was, the third one, and I was like, well, I guess I'll expect a dip in quality. And then I watched it, and I was like, wait, that was actually really good. What's the problem?
Yeah, I mean, I think I like the first two better, but like,
yeah, no, I wouldn't call it the
one is
best
still
one
good.
of the.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it. Yeah, it's not the best one of the trilogy, because I feel like the third movie focused a lot on the Panda Village and kind of made the Furious Five sort of background, except for Tigress a little bit.
Yeah.
So they kind of sidelined a lot of the cast of the first two movies for the sake of a bunch of relatively okayish jokes in the Panda Village. But despite that, I think it was still really good. Plus, obviously, it gave Poe a lot of really awesome new powers.
Yeah.
Like being able to go back and forth between the realms of the living and dead, therefore making him functionally immortal unless you can kill his soul.
Pretty much.
So,
which Iron Fist could not do, apparently.
Indeed. So that was a thing. But yeah. So I also watched the TV shows that Poe has, and I also, well, there's an obvious bit of a downgrade because you're going from, a movie to a TV show.
Yeah.
It is funny how so many of the powers he gained came from those shows. Like, I actually really liked the episode with the Golden Lotus clap, because he just straight up makes himself go blind, and it's they make it as funny as you can.
I do like how they had Boomstick do it as well.
Yeah, so apparently Boomstick has chi, by the way.
Put that in his list of powers for whenever they do Wiz versus Boomstick.
Yeah, he just inexplicably can do that sometimes. It's funny. You don't think about it, but you also think about it. It's like they just randomly pull out these items that are fictional, and they're like, no, we have them for testing purposes. Well, like I'll even point that out when we get to the newest fight as it happens. But yeah. As for this fight, I really freaking liked it. They could have very easily made it, fully farcical, or they could have also made it completely serious. I think they struck the right balance.
Yeah. I will say, if there's anything I liked a little less in this episode, it was the music.
The reason for that.
Yeah, it's
because...
just like, I'm not saying it's a bad piece of music. It's not something I would listen to on its own. But
that's the thing.
It goes with the fight well.
That's the thing.
At the end of the day, that is the job of the soundtrack.
Right. See, they were doing something different for this one specifically, because basically usually they'll hire either Brandon or Therwolf, generally. And they're like, we're doing this fight, so make a track for these characters. And they just play it in the background of the fight as it happens.
Well, I mean, they also get sent what the animation looks like, so it'll be like, okay, so Alright, for this part, I'll go into this, and
Yeah, like, oh, these characters are talking. I'll kind of quiet down on this particular part, that sort of thing.
yeah.
But generally, they just kind of do whatever they want.
Hmm.
But with this one, they basically gave them like the full fight animation, and they were like, all right, so compose the music to the action, like an actual movie or TV show. Like, all shows have like this incidental music that happens as things are happening on screen. And it's technically music, but it's not something you would put on a soundtrack.
Yeah.
So it worked very thematically, and it's good for what it was doing. Just as a song itself, it's not
I'd say
a solid song alone.
I'd say it's basically like the Red Winter of the season.
Yeah, because they kind of did the same thing for that one.
Yeah, like you do get those with death battles sometimes. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't make the music bad. It's just
no, it goes with the fight. It just, if you separate the song from the fight, it's not as good.
Yeah,
because like it's meant to go with the fight. So in that aspect, yeah. But I liked the way they did it, and I need to compliment. I want to make sure that I get his name correct. Austin Lee Matthews.
Yep.
For being
freaking tastic as Poe.
For basically being the greatest Poe they could have ever gotten, other than Jack Black.
Yeah, so many people were actually questioning, is that Jack Black, when they heard his voice.
Right, and I need to point this out. The other guy that generally plays Poe, when Jack Black doesn't, I want to make sure I get his name too, because he's also really good at it, is Mick Wingert. He's the guy who plays Poe in the TV shows, because Jack Black is expensive.
Yeah.
But I think, and I say this with, with nothing but respect for the guy that they do have for Poe in the TV shows, because he's really good too. I think Austin does a better Jack Black impersonation than he does. He is very good. Yeah.
I'm still holding out hope that maybe one day Jack Black will do a reaction to the death battle.
It's not impossible.
Just don't put it behind a paywall, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Austin. You're a great Red Ranger, and I think you're a cool guy, but I am not paying like $20 to watch you watch a death battle. I'm just not gonna. But still. So I think the fight did everything that it could possibly do correctly. Like, they had humor in the right parts. They made it epic when it needed to be.
Yeah.
They made a fight between a martial artist and a giant fat panda, the big fat panda, look as epic, and yet leaned into the silly as much as they needed to.
Yeah, and actually, speaking of the silly, people have pointed this out. Like, yeah, Iron Fist is about to fight a giant talking panda, and you'd think, oh, that's weird, but he's seen weirder stuff in Marvel.
Absolutely. If anything,
Poe should be freaked out, because what is a human?
Yeah, humans don't exist in his world. So in a way, it kind of makes sense that he was in such awe, because like, I don't even know what you're supposed to be, but you're cool. Also, add this to the admittedly rather small list of fights between two people that don't seem to hate each other that still leads in death. It's a very small list, and it's always weird when it happens. And I'll make a meme video about it, but it's still cool.
Still, it's just like that ending line. That was so cool! Wait till Master Shifu hears about this! Everyone was just like, I killed a guy!
Yeah, I murdered a man! Why did you do that? I don't know! It kind of got out of hand.
It's like with Sora versus Pit, just like at the end when Pit's corpse is on the ground, just moment of silence, then just Goofy. Attaboy, Sora!
It's like, all right, moving on. It's like, we're not really used to that. That's not normal at all.
Nah.
But yeah, that's another fight where they weren't exactly rude to each other, really.
Not really. Like, Pit was complimenting Sora the whole time.
Yeah. But obviously the most respectful of all time is still going to be All Might and Might Guy.
I would have thought Yoda versus King Mickey.
That's second place. Because I'd still say they said some things that are like antagonistic in a sense. Like next to nothing All Might or Might Guy said was like, man,
Yeah, true.
I dislike some aspect of what's going on. Like even when Might Guy's dying, he's like, yeah, that was really fun. Let's do that again. Passes out, and it's just like, but with Mickey, he's like, oh, that's a shame. Like even then, that's a small difference, but it's a difference. But I also like it because they're able to go like, we want the characters, even if we are going to make them kill each other, to act like they're characters.
Yeah.
It's like, is Mickey Mouse really going to try and murder somebody with malicious intent? Probably not.
No.
And the same goes for Poe. He just kind of did.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Death Battle. Like, these characters probably wouldn't kill each other if they actually met, but, you know, the nature of the show is, well, someone's gonna die.
Yeah, very, very rarely. Unless villain characters are coming up,
Yeah.
almost none of the characters would actually kill each other. If maybe they could come to blows for some whatever misunderstood reason, but they wouldn't kill.
Yeah.
So there's that. And, you know, hey, Iron Fist gave it his best. He did a good job. Respectable. Yee. All right. I say that's pretty good for that one, eh?
Yeah.
All right. So the next one isn't a particularly popular fight, but I really enjoyed it because I just like when they have cartoons on the show. And that's Steven Universe versus Star Butterfly.
Yeah. A fight where, my god, going into this as blind as possible probably made it funnier.
Yeah, no, it really did.
Like, the amount of times I said WTF.
You really
when
did.
Just, like, learning what these two are about and what they can do for the very first time. It's just
when you look at them, you don't expect the level of power that they have. Even Steven, who isn't exactly powerful, is at least really defensive. He's like, you know, you saw the space blast that he should conceivably be able to block.
Well, yeah.
Just because Star was above that does not make that less impressive. So, yeah, this was a fun episode for a lot of reasons. It's great to have Western cartoon characters on Death Battle. This is like the 4th time they've ever had one.
Let's see.
They had
Goliath.
Goliath and Scrooge McDuck.
And any Avatar characters.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But they lean more into the anime, so my brain kind of registers them as such.
I guess. I know, like, people might say, oh, RWBY's a Western animation, but we count it as anime, so...
It's anime. It's totally anime.
Also, technically, the Japanese word for anime... anime is just the Japanese word for cartoon, so Toy Story is the best anime ever.
There you go.
Like, let's be real. Come on, people.
That's true. That's true. Woody could be Jiren. It's true. Anyway, so this fight was the exact level of silly that it needed to be, because, man, just going in, and I was talking to a friend of mine. He's like, I like Steven a lot, and that's why I kind of want him to lose, because I feel like him killing goes so far against his character and who he is as a person that it just would feel so incredibly wrong. Like, yeah, and you point out, like, well, that was Yang's thing. Not Yang, Aang. Oy.
It's fine, their names are similar.
Yeah, it's a letter off. But that's Aang's thing, too. And it's just like, yeah, but at the same time, Aang still is a proficient fighter and will fight, where Steven is a guy who will desperately attempt to not fight at all times. So I get that. But we were just talking about it, and it's funny, because it's just like, well, this is like the most obvious setup for a fight ever, because, well, Star is just kind of a blood knight, and she likes to fight.
So having her just like... Well, I mean, she was going about it just, like, to cheer Steven up, but a bit too far.
It escalated.
Like, okay, stop. Like,
yeah.
Just leave me alone. Get out of here.
Stop, please. It's still a really great line.
Yeah. Man.
But, yeah.
I gotta say, like, Kaden, I think, did great. Like, I've heard people say, okay, she doesn't sound like Steven, but she talks like Steven, if that makes sense.
It does. See, there's a thing. There's 2 different types of things for impressions. There's having the exact same sound that they make, and being able to get their inflections and mannerisms correct.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, some can do one but not the other. I would say the most important aspect of an impression really is the tone and inflections. Like, I feel like if you're able to speak as a character well enough, you can mostly forgive when they don't exactly sound tonally correct.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in that aspect, I would agree. I do not remember the name of the person who was Star.
I've got it pulled up, but I just want to say, like, that scream Kaden does at the "Just leave me alone" as Steven goes pink.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's a really good scream.
Absolutely.
And just like the way that line is delivered, I think, like, mad props.
Yeah, absolutely.
The voice for Star is, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Corinne...
Just do your best.
Corinne Suburb?
That's good enough. Good enough.
It's the voice. It's the voice of Dragon Ball Z Abridged Bulma.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Honestly, when I first heard it, I thought it was Samantha Ireland because it sounded a lot like Nora.
And to be fair, I feel like they could have gotten her and she would have been able to do it. But for what it is worth, I feel like this sounded almost identical to Star. I know, again, you didn't watch the shows, but it was really ridiculously close.
Yeah, and I will say, after finding out, like, it was her, like, I hear Bulma in this now.
Well, there you go. It's like, that's mightily out of character for you, Bulma. But,
well, I mean, destroying a universe, I'm sure that'll impress Vegeta.
More than a little. So, there's only a couple things that I feel I can detract from this episode. One is, I think the fight was too short.
I've heard... there's a friend of mine, he said, like, something about that and the pacing of it.
Yeah. I feel like... I don't know. I feel like the fight... Like, not even, like, a ton. I feel like it needed, like, an extra maybe 30 to 40 seconds of before they transformed.
Yeah, I can agree. It did sort of feel like Star went into Butterfly really quick. Yeah,
like it from that point, she only had gotten like hit like 3 times, and she's all right. I'm just gonna activate my super ultra death mode. I feel like while Steven's justification for turning pink made a lot of sense, I feel like Star just jumped into it way too dang fast, and Steven should have put her more on the back foot before she did.
That's fair.
Especially if they're going to go with the angle of Star is weaker than Steven in their base forms, then they could have portrayed that a little bit better to make her look like she had to transform to continue fighting.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point.
That's my thought, at least.
Fair enough.
And you were going to say?
Yeah, I also wanted to say the sprites freaking fantastic.
Yeah, no, the sprites were as good as they were ever going to possibly be for this sort of thing. I thought the Danny and Jake ones were really good too, but they've clearly improved. And we were checking, just for reasons, going through the fight itself like really super slowly. And
before we get to that, I just want to say, you know those like tiny wings the Star has in base?
Yes.
Yeah, those are visible on her sprite near the beginning.
It's true. It's true. You just have to really
like frantically going, wait, sorry, after all the sand collapses on Steven. It's only they're only visible for that frame, but I thought, wow, that's actually an insane detail.
Yeah, no, and there's a ton of them, because if you're watching it slowly enough, there are a bunch of really solid expressions on the characters' faces that you only see for like a frame or two before they go away.
Yeah.
Like, there's actually, like, when Star's, like, about to fall off the rainbow, which is a sentence I can say, like, for a brief moment, right before she does the starfish tsunami, you can see, like, this really great pouting face, and you completely miss that watching it because it goes by so fast, but it was really good.
Yeah, and
if you have something to say, please do.
No, there is... Like, I never would have noticed this if not for people pointing it out, and even when people were pointing it out, I still couldn't see it.
Yeah, it was really hard to find.
Yeah, like, when Star does the tsunami, there's just, like, a frame of, like, the storyboards.
At least what looks to be the storyboard. It could not be, but it could also be.
Yeah, it's only... I only found it because I was going like at it on YouTube at like the lowest possible speed and constantly pausing.
Yeah. So it's very brief, so I'm not gonna really put any. I'm not gonna dock at any points for that.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. Like honestly, like if I'm just watching this like at normal speed, then I would never.
You're not gonna see it. You're not gonna see it. Yeah.
So it's
the
like,
other thing.
whatever.
Yeah. The only other thing that I could dock this episode for is. And I know a lot of her detractors are going to say, yeah, that's super in character and canon. Ha ha ha. They portrayed Star a touch bit too sadistically because I had to go back and tell you that she's actually a lot nicer than what this episode made it look.
It probably didn't help that the end of analysis clip they used.
No, they chose a very, very, very bad end of analysis clip because you're taking it completely out of context. And like she thought she was actually in a legitimate war. It was a high school football game, but she broadly misinterpreted it.
Yeah,
it was also before a lot of
it
was also before a lot of her character development, of which she did have.
Yeah.
So
and you brought up the comparison. It'd be like if they were using Nora. Yeah, cycling back to her. If her end of analysis was the "we'll break his legs" scene.
Yeah, exactly. And that was pretty much the only context you really got of her. Like, that's the only voice clip you saw. Is like, you'd think, oh, so she's kind of a psycho. And like, okay, yeah, there are moments where I could see why you'd think that, but if you really saw the character, then you'd be like, oh, wait, there's more to her than that.
Yeah.
Same thing with Star. There's more to her than that. She has quiet, emotional moments, too.
And that's like season 1, so...
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing. The clip they took was from season 1 for Star. So it's like it's out of context. Come on now.
Well, there we go then.
So yeah, I mean, I was always prepared for her to be the instigator. There was no other way for the fight to start because Steven was never going to start a fight. So I got that much, but like they really cranked it out there, and I don't really know if they had to have her vaporize a bunny.
I mean. I'm fine with that because I got to make a meme video out of it.
Yeah, no, it was funny. But again, it's portraying her as much more of a psycho than she actually is. And again, detractors will say, but she is a psycho, her. No, she's not. Shut up.
Oh, also, spider with a top hat.
Spider with a top hat.
I remember, like, before this episode came out, they were saying that Liam is making a cameo in the episode. As soon as I heard it, I was just like, oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah. It was either that or he was the watermelon Stevens.
You know what? That would have been extremely subtle.
It would have. So, there you go.
Like, huh.
So, other than the show being, the fight being a little short, and I feel like they could have emphasized the fact that Star has quieter, more non-psychotic moments in her show would have been nice, but other than that, it's good.
Yeah.
Plus, I wanted her to win anyway, so I ain't got no complaints.
Yeah, I was fine with Eva winning. I didn't really have a horse in this race.
You had no investment at all, so yeah.
Yeah. But after the preview came out, someone pointed this out to me, and I still quite like this. There's a shout out to a couple people in the community, those being Red Runner and Gumball Viking.
Yeah, they're randomly represented in sandcastle form.
Yeah, I mean, it's because, like, one of the newer people in the team, Origin, like, those are a couple of his friends, so we snuck in a little, like, shout out for them.
Ah, gotcha. These are, like, super duper blink and you miss them type things.
Yeah, but I've also noticed, like, with this season, there are a few episodes that do shout out, like, fans or just people in the community, just, like, you know, because... And also, I should say, this fight is one that Red Runner and Gumball both wanted.
Yeah.
So, that also makes sense.
You got name-dropped in a commentary.
And I got sent free merch afterwards.
Yeah, you did, so... You can't say
I'm
that Death Battle
tight
doesn't...
Blake and Migasa.
Yeah, Death Battle super-duper appreciates their fans.
Yeah.
Like, even if you think, oh man, my reaction videos don't get that many views, you'd be surprised that they'd find it. I think they specifically look for them at some point. I feel.
Yeah, I remember my mind was blown when you said, like, the very first, like, of my videos you ever watched was my first death battle reaction.
Yeah.
To which I say, oh, I am so sorry.
Oh,
Because-
it's fine. I saw it before you even improved, so it all works.
No, like, when I went back to it, I was just like, oh my god, the audio in this is terrible.
Everybody starts somewhere. It's no problem.
I guess.
So don't worry about it.
Also, I mispronounced one of the characters' names, and no one gave a crap, apparently. Like,
What fight was it?
Ragnar versus Soul.
Which name did you say wrong?
Ragnar, I said Ranga.
Ranga!
I'm, like, when
The Johnny Depp chameleon!
I realized that afterwards, I was just like, oh no.
Oh no!
But then no one called me out on it.
To be fair, I don't think a lot of people were too super duper knowledgeable of BlazBlue in the death battle community.
You know what?
So I
you know what? Maybe because the audio quality was so bad, they just didn't notice.
look at that, blessings. There you go.
I don't know.
It all worked out. It all worked out. All right, then. So I super duper loved this episode. I understand why some people aren't too big on it because, yeah, okay, it's a little short. It's a little strange.
Yeah, and, you know, everyone's tastes are different, so...
Absolutely. So I can understand why it would probably be lower on people's lists, but I think of it rather highly.
And, you know, we've even said, like, oh, sometimes I might just take characters you know to make an episode better.
That really is a factor. If you don't know who a characters are, even if you're like Mark here and you're like really cool like he is, and you're like, I like learning about things, then even then you're going to be like, I still liked that episode. It's not a big favorite of mine because I don't know who these characters were beforehand, but I still enjoyed it. That's the proper way to do things. Unlike all of those other reactioners that I've seen that are like, I don't know who this is, and I don't care. So, and I'm going to loudly declare how much I don't care about this episode. So, like, why are you watching it? Oh, right, because if you didn't, your view counts would slip. Regardless.
You got called
There you
out.
go. Yeah, I won't name names, but you're out there, people. So I guess that leaves us to rematch o'clock.
The mid-season finale.
Word. We got Lincoln Cloud, yo.
Yep.
Link got his ass kicked.
He didn't get kicked. He got sliced in half vertically.
It's true.
Okay, this is like something I gotta say about the kill shot. It looks like why it's kind of weird to me because.
You mean the fact that he vanished and then his body fell?
Yeah.
They should have gone with one or the other, but they did both, and it's a little weird.
Yeah, and it kind of kills something I noticed with this season.
Yeah, you wanted every single person who died in this season to get vaporized.
Well, not vaporized, but just like there's nothing left of them. Like
that's basically vaporization.
I guess, but like Yoda and Ryuko vaporized by Ultima and Chaos Blast. Geese got melted.
True.
Oh wait, I skipped over Lex.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, Lex got sliced and exploded.
Yeah, so Mikasa got stabbed and kaboom.
She did go kaboomba.
Iron Fist got eaten by Dragon Construct.
As you do. Hey, there are worse ways to die.
Steven got not only did he get vaporized, but with his gem cracked, it's like no, he's super dead.
Yeah, he's dead as dead. There ain't nothing saving that. He's the only one alive who can actually do his magic tear thing to fix that stuff. No, he's just gone.
Okay, I want to quickly cycle back to that after I say this, but now yeah, Link's corpse is just there, so
yeah. I appreciate the fact that they framed it in a way that it didn't look like horrifying.
Yeah, it didn't show the insides like
they did Urza. Yeah. Whew. They were daring that day. When I went to the animator and I said, "Hey, we never done vertical slice. Some swords people, you should do vertical slice. It'd be really cool." Even I didn't go, "Oh, they decided to make that big gory." Whoa. I was expecting something a little more subtle. They did not go subtle. But yes.
Yeah, so
go ahead.
I remember something I should have said about Steven Starr.
What's that?
So, keep in mind, I didn't know about the whole gem broken, they dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to the commentary, and Kaden, who was the voice of Steven in that episode, said that she would have preferred it if, like, instead of being vaporized and the gem broken, you actually see, like, a bloodied up corpse.
Yeah.
And when I heard that, I was just like, Jesus Christ, Kaden!
Like, that does not, like, I thought you liked this character. And yes,
but then
if you know how the characters
like,
work, yeah.
So
oh, got it.
It was a little funny.
A broken gem means more to the people who watch Steven Universe than I realized. That's basically what you're like. Oh. So yeah, but Link versus Cloud, it's a rematch.
Yeah. Also, technically, like, how?
Yes.
Yeah, Link died like 5 times in this.
Technically, yes.
Like, the 3 clones, then he got exploded and brought back with Mipha's Grace, and then he got sliced in half.
Yeah. Although yes.
I think, yeah, that's like the most time anyone has died in a single episode.
Yes, so, as a matter of fact, has.
Link
it's
has
also the first time. It's also literally the first time immediate resurrection has been applied as a legitimate ability in a death battle. Because any other character who could conceivably come back after getting killed would take longer, whereas with Link, it's instantaneous.
Yeah.
Although, credit where it's due, blink and you miss it. If you look at Cloud's health right before he does the Omni Slash, he's like hanging on there with like a thread, and that was after he healed himself.
Yeah, wasn't he like basically a hit away from death?
Essentially. So even though, the post-analysis says, now Cloud would win, the animation made it like, no, he came really close. And even then, in the post-analysis, there are situations where Link would win.
Yeah, and that's something that, like, because, okay, I'm comparing it to the Mario vs. Sonic rematch, because, like, I've said multiple times, I didn't really like how Sonic looked, like, looking back on it. It's just, like, the original has that montage where it's just, like, Mario dodges one of Sonic's hits. Mario gets an uppercut on Sonic. Sonic's doing the spin dash on Mario. Sonic's tapping his foot, waiting for Mario not to be a statue. Like, that they both look good, and that last one is just funny.
Yeah.
Whereas in the rematch,
in the rematch, it's a little more mean-spirited towards Sonic, and
yeah,
I hadn't even realized that until I rewatched it recently, and it's just like, yeah, actually, he kind of looks like a chump in this fight.
Yeah, like, Sonic gets punched in the stomach. Sonic gets, like, scratched in the torso and bleeds. Sonic gets violently headbutted in the face. Sonic gets kicked in the nuts.
Yeah, although that was still kind of funny. It's the sound effect that made it. But it's like, basically, Sonic was the instigator for it, and almost during, like, the entire fight, he really doesn't get that much of an upper hand.
Yeah, but that's something I really liked about Link vs. Cloud. Link got moments where he was looking cool and had the upper hand against Cloud.
And they showed what it is that he does have an advantage over Cloud in, with his experience in strategizing.
Yeah, like strategizing with all the clones, and goddamn, that Navi reference will never not be funny to me.
Yeah, I mean, one of the clones can turn into a fairy. The joke wrote itself at that point.
Yeah.
It's like, and that worked great as a distraction. So, like, he had the clones distract him while they set up this thing, so they can set up a bunch of bombs, and he uses all of his gear to, like,
and you know what?
outmaneuver him.
It's
really cool.
And they kind of referenced the original there.
Yeah, they did.
Because of all the bombs and that being, like, part of the kill shot, and also the ice arrow getting rejected by the ribbon.
Yeah. I feel like that is how it was done in the original fight. It just, the animation didn't make that obvious. I feel like the whole entire implication was the ribbon made Cloud get out of that iceberg. He just stood in there for too long, and it didn't, like, show up. Like, it didn't show the ribbon, like, glow or anything or something to make that obvious.
Yeah, but
so it looked more like it looked more like he broke out of it through sheer brute force.
Yeah, but keep in mind that was, like, a Season 1 episode.
Yeah, it was. It was the first 3D episode ever, and it was the first project of someone who had not animated in 3D before. Yeah, cut it some slack. Yeah. But there were a lot of homages to that.
You know what? Ben said in the commentary, I completely forgot about this detail. Like, they didn't intend for that fight to be 3D. The animators just made it 3D without telling them.
Yeah, which is really funny. And they're like, oh, well, goddamn, okay.
So now that we can do 3D animation, we have to do Goku vs. Superman now.
Like, well, damn. Now we ain't got no excuses. You know what else they don't have excuses for? Galactus versus Unicron. Good God, man.
That better be the season finale.
But I digress. I digress.
But
this was a super great fight.
Either the season finale or 150. Like, it's got to be one of the two.
Yeah.
Preferably
So
finale.
something I want to say that I actually super appreciate about this episode is if you go back and watch the original Link versus Cloud, there were a lot of kind of mean pot shots and like not all that funny, like insulting jokes towards both of them.
Well, like Link is a fairy thing.
Yeah, like the Link is a fairy thing, and kind of like how like they end Cloud's with, it's like, Wizard says like, oh, Cloud's one of the deadliest sword fighters in video game history, and Boomstick chimes in, even if he looks like a girl, and like it shows him like doing like a pained scream to the sky, and it's like it just didn't seem like they were being very nice.
Yeah, I can get
that.
But
this particular instance, however, they made both characters look super duper cool.
Yeah, and I will say this episode gave me a new respect for Cloud, like as a character.
Better have. Yeah, better have. Dude's been through a lot, man.
Yeah.
It's ironic, but this is such a weird situation for me. Like, I've always liked both characters, but when the original came out, I liked Link a hell of a lot more. And I didn't really fully understand Cloud as a character. I just thought he was a cool swordsman guy, but I was like, Link is Link, obviously. And then years and years later, and now we're at this point, and I'm like, man, I really freaking like Cloud because I know him a lot better. I still really like Link, and I don't want to see him lose or anything. But man, Cloud's been through a lot. And I'm like...
It's kind of like... It reminds me of our thoughts on Hulk versus Broly.
Yeah.
Like, Hulk v OG Broly, oh yeah, go Hulk. Like, destroy this dude.
Yeah.
But then Super Broly happens, just like, man, I want Broly to win.
Yeah, I like new Broly. He's really cool. So it was that exact situation. So I was like, all right. Also,
I'm just gonna throw this out. My thoughts on the original, I was just watching it and thinking like, okay, I know Link. I want him to win. Something is telling me Cloud's gonna win. Oh wait, Link won? Hell yes!
Yeah, that was basically what I think most people were going in thinking.
Yeah, but then with this, I was just like, you know what, either or.
Yeah, because they're both cool. They're both great characters.
Yeah.
But they did everything they needed to. They incorporated the motorcycles, but they didn't linger on them for too long. Just enough to be like, yeah, they both got motorcycles. Let's have them fight on it for at least a bit before we transition over.
Yeah.
And Link has a lot of incredibly hilarious expressions in this fight.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of hilarious, the pots.
Yeah, he just, all right, I'm just going to stop fighting and break stuff. And TV Tropes actually alerted me to this, because I kind of knew it, but at the same time I didn't. It was like, why is Cloud, like, explicitly so upset about that? And, like, why did he, like, try to save that one pot? They were fighting in Aerith's church.
Yeah.
So Link was basically ransacking his dead friend's home, essentially.
And then they both destroyed it.
Well, okay, well, to be fair, that Link didn't know that, and on top of that, too much power got thrown around, and the building was still standing, so it's fine. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. The ribbon.
But yeah, I was also thinking about it, like, imagine it from Cloud's perspective afterwards.
Like, oh,
like, he's hanging out with the rest of Avalanche, and they're just like, Cloud, what happened to you? Oh, I fought this elf-looking dude, and then midway through our fight, he just started smashing pots for no reason. I'm like, what up with that?
Yeah, like, what up with that? What up with that? So, yeah, that was obviously really funny. And they incorporated far more than I thought they would. Like, I really didn't expect them to go full on. Like, yeah, have them use the 4 swords. Like, whoa!
And the Fierce Dignity mask.
Yeah, like, that, like, oh, we going full composite Link. Whoa. Like, they did that before. They did that before. Yeah, they did that before in the last one, too, but it was less overt, because, like, they didn't bust out the masks and stuff at that point. Like, damn, they gave him everything.
Oh, no, in the original, they were just like, okay, so we're giving him all the weapons he has in Smash Brothers, but, like, the armor is fair game, I guess.
Yeah, and also, I guess, the Rock's Feather, which he didn't have in Smash. Here's the thing. Like, they themselves will say that the stipulations and rule set for the original fight was stupid.
I mean, I still understand it, but then...
No, I got where they were coming from, and it makes sense. But
yeah.
they look back on it and they go, yeah, we probably shouldn't have gone that route. Because, you know, mostly, the big thing, And the reason I feel like Cloud was most definitely decided to not be the winner in the original is because they limited the amount of materia he could use.
I still understand like the reason, like why.
Yeah, no, because vast player customizable arsenals. Like, yeah, totally, I get it.
And
it's
since
just
they were going for like weapons that this person carries into their fighting game, we got to do the same for the other one. That's just what he has in that fighting game, and they gave him an extra one that he didn't have in that game, I believe.
Yeah, they did actually. But the fact of the matter is that they kind of just factored in lightning and fire materia. Yeah, of course that's not going to be enough. But once he's allowed to, use his time stop and black hole and healing and all that other stuff and flare, oh my god. Yeah. So it tipped things in his favor a bit.
Yeah. It's also why I wasn't too bothered about the whole, like, okay, let's not have Cloud use summons and Link not have use fairies, because I always interpret it as just, like, when they just cancel each other out.
Essentially.
Like, Cloud summons a thing, it kills Link, a fairy revives him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basically. And they still didn't actually use that. I like that they factored in Mipha's Grace, because that's more of an innate ability that he was gifted, rather than a fairy in a jar he was carrying.
Yeah.
So, I like how that went. Also, technically, I think they animated Link going out the way he did and, like, fading away like a Final Fantasy enemy at first. And then someone else was all like, but wait, I want to have him collapse down on the ground with a big thud like Cloud did in the original fight. And they were like, just do both. Yeah, so I feel like that's what that was referencing to.
I always thought Cloud, like, falling down the cliff was meant to reference that.
It could have been. Either way, Either way, there were definitely deliberate references to the original fight in this one.
I remember hearing someone say, what if they had him land in the church like that? Because that'd be a reference to the original and a reference to when he met Aerith.
Yeah, that would have actually made sense. Instead, he stuck the landing, so that's interesting. But, dang, what was I gonna say? It was something poignant, I'm sure. But, the fight was really cool. I liked it a whole bunch.
Yeah.
And obviously, I still super freaking love Link. He's a great character and a great hero. And I feel like the fight, even though he lost it, very much made it obvious just how cool and badass of a hero he actually is.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He was just fighting a guy who can survive an exploding sun to the face.
Yeah, and I think we can agree, best rematch episode that has happened.
Oh, yeah, no question.
Yeah, so better than Mario vs. Sonic and Goku vs. Superman 2.
Although I do still like Mario vs. Sonic.
Yeah, fair.
It is a good episode. You can't say it's not. It's just rough around the edges here and there.
Yeah, and I will just throw out that, just in case anyone was thinking, oh, of course he hates the remake because Sonic lost. My favorite episode with Sonic as a combatant is Archie Sonic vs. Flash.
Yeah, and he got turbo murdered in that one. He got killed upon multiple dimensions.
Yeah.
He just likes it when the characters look cool when they go out, and you can't say Archie Sonic didn't give it everything.
I mean, the way it was done is a bit weird at first viewing, because
what the hell was that?
It looks like he goes back in time, but then, like, no, it turns out he went forward. It's weird how it was done.
Yeah, they could have probably showed it a little bit better, but once you do know what it was, you can see what it was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a really good one. And, oh, crud, I'm almost remembering what I was gonna say. My brain. Oh, right. So somebody was like, I see comments, and you know how comments are. And it's just like, one of them is just like, didn't they already do this episode? Why are they doing it again? And I'm like, you stupid. And then another person is like, I hope this doesn't mean they're going to start doing this all the time. And I'm like, you stupid. Because they made it sound like, oh, so they're remaking fights now? You stupid. This is like the 4th time they've done that.
Yeah, also, they don't really do it that often, and...
This is the 4th time they've done it in over almost 150 episodes.
Yeah, and honestly, I think some episodes it's just like, you don't really need to bother, like, redoing that.
As much as I would like for some of them to be redone. I still maintain that they should do, like, a weird mini-sode sort of thing. It's like the length of a normal episode, but it's literally just them going back and going, okay, so we got these fights wrong, but we also don't feel like they really deserve the full bells and whistles treatment. So here's, like, a couple updated facts that we messed up back then, and here's, like, a brief 15-second kerfuffle. And there you go. And then they just do that for like seven of the old episodes that really, really were incorrect. And it was like, all right, there's that, done and dusted. We're done. We're moving on now.
Maybe.
I feel like that's something that they could do. Justice for Bomberman is all I'm asking. Antifa too, but I mean, I won't be greedy.
Well, I mean, some characters I also just see, like, I don't know, maybe they just get an episode against a different opponent.
Yeah, probably. We're much more likely to see Luigi come back against somebody separate than a rematch with Tails.
Yeah.
I feel like the Mario-Sonic rematch made it abundantly clear that that fight changed too.
Although I will say, they still gave Archie for Tails.
Oh, yeah, yeah, they did, but Tails really didn't have a lot going for him in Archie.
Yeah.
It was really just Sonic and Knuckles.
Actually, something that I only thought about recently is just like, they did Tails and Knuckles in the same season. One got Archie, the other didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, looking back, that was a little odd.
Yeah. Well, the first 3 seasons of Death Battle were a thing, and even season 4 had some whoa. They've finally reached a point where they're fully stable with a good group of people making it. No more saboteurs, no more internal conflicts. So I understand, and they have quality and people who care about the show working on it now. So it makes sense that some of the past ones were oof. So, now that we've talked for an hour about those 3 episodes, should we get to the thing that we were actually just, were talking on Twitter about the reason why we were doing this in the first place?
Yeah. Although, should we just quickly address the next time?
If it's Batman versus Iron Man, I'm not watching it.
I mean, the saving grace is that it's the Hellbat, so it's at least something different.
Yeah, but at the same time, we don't need Batman again. We do not need Batman again. And if it's seriously to the effect of, well, Iron Man obliterates Batman in every single shape, way, and form, so here we are giving him this thing that he used once in the comics and it didn't even work properly to try and make it fair, it just feels wrong to me.
Yeah. I honestly just think there are also characters that deserve even a second episode more than Batman deserves a 4th.
Without question. I felt like a third one was just ugh. Like, the only reason I was okay enough with the third one I was okay with a third fight with Batman because Batman versus Captain America was a rushed thing done to fill space, so fine.
And even then, I feel like Captain America deserves a second episode.
Yeah, no, he does, definitely. He deserved a second one more than Batman needed a third. But the point is, I get it. So, technically, if you look at Batman Black Panther as the real second episode with Batman, okay. And, I'm okay with Shadow coming back a third time, mostly because his first 2 fights were not that great for him.
Yeah. Also, it was spread out a lot more.
Yeah, there were almost entire, 5-year gaps between each fight, so yeah. Okay.
Meanwhile, with Batman, it was not the case.
And also with Wonder Woman, I fully admit, no, just that straight, they shouldn't have done that. I get why they did it, but no, she didn't need a third fight. And Batman sure as all hell does not need a 4th. There are many characters who could have definitely used a second one, and they decided, no, let's give him a 4th. If he's fighting someone who isn't Iron Man, then okay. If it's not a Marvel character, then all right. But if it is, it's silly.
I have heard Cosmic Spider-Man be thrown around.
I hate that idea even more than Iron Man. We don't need a 5th Batman versus Spider-Man themed episode.
I mean,
just because Venom and Bane was stupid and shouldn't have happened doesn't mean that ain't Batman versus Spider-Man. It was.
I mean, I would still be cool with Mysterio versus Scarecrow. But I think that would be the coolest one we could have.
I am okay with that one too, but also, I mean, I don't know. Mysterio and Scarecrow aren't Spider-Man and Batman, adjacent in their skill sets.
That too, and also just with the animation potential, it's just what's real for the entire time.
You're gonna have to crack Mysterio's bowl because otherwise he's just immune to the gas, and I think that would be hilarious. But it's he's just shooting out a bunch of gas. I have a fishbowl on my head. You can't see. I can't breathe this in, you dumb nerd.
Oh wait, no. Here's the twist. Scarecrow cracks the bowl when he's being affected by the gas, and there's illusions from both of them going on, but then it turns out, oh wait, the entire time it was an illusion by Mysterio and he won.
That would be pretty dope, actually. He's very good at illusions. He's a goofy-looking dude, but, you know, credit where it's due. They made him way cooler in the movie.
Also, he had the funniest boss fight in any video game I've played.
Yeah, well, see, that's the
an
thing.
Insanely high health bar down in one hit.
Bonk. Well, that's just kind of how Mysterio was for a very long time. He was a joke, a big-time joke. When he was first introduced, they did a lot of stuff with him, but later, once his design really started becoming outdated, he was purely just, haha, look at the silly loser. The movie came out, and they made him look better, and I think he's actually in a position where he's a respectable villain again, which is great. So, anyway, I'm sick to death of Batman, not just in Death Battle, but in general. I'm tired of there being a new movie or TV show or something to do with him every single year for the past 30 years.
Yeah. Also, okay, is this something that I gave Marvel, like, and Sony props for when they brought Spider-Man into the MCU? Like, they skipped his origin story because, yeah, we already know it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's been done on the silver screen, like, twice in the last decade. We don't need a repeat.
Yeah. Even if it wasn't, people know what it is.
Yeah, but
Uncle died, spider bite. Thank you. Moving on.
But like with Batman, they show his parents die all the time.
Even in Batman versus Superman, they somehow it's a new Batman, not the Christian Bale one. So like, oh well, we don't have time for the full origin story. Just slice it in with the beginning credits. It's like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, you didn't need to. We know what his past was.
Yeah.
It's the most well-known backstory in comic books.
Blah. Yeah, so much that you can make jokes out of it. Like, you know, part of me still wishes this was in the episode, but when I was at MCM London, you know, back when conventions were a thing.
Yeah, they'll be back soon.
I know, and it will be great.
Yeah. We will see each other again.
Like,
It'll be fun.
The RWBY panel was going on, and someone was making comparisons to Blake and Batman. No, that should never be a matchup, and I hate it.
No. Yeah.
So that's going on, and then Aaron just chimes in, yeah, but Blake has parents.
Oh, snap. So there you go. All right. So now that we've made our stance known on all of that, we're probably actually going to breeze through this next part a little faster than the opening, because we're going to have more to say about some of these than others. But
yeah.
Save the big one for last.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Okay, I was like, and just making sure, like, you know what the big one is.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So we're gonna talk about RWBY fights.
Yeah, because we do a RWBY discussion podcast, and we're both massive fans of Death Battle. Like, these are like the two shows we're obsessed with.
Our number one waifus in fiction come from RWBY.
That too.
I'm just throwing that out there because everyone knows it. Might as well say it.
Well, yeah.
We like RWBY. It's a good show. So what if other characters from the show got on?
Yeah,
they said it's not impossible. They said it's not impossible.
Yeah, after Blake versus Mikasa, they were asked, like, oh, is there a possibility we might see someone that isn't from Team RWBY appear on Death Battle? And they said, yeah, we would totally be up for doing that.
Then the question is, which ones would they do?
Yeah.
Mostly Mate, but even we both looked at basically what the most commonly requested fight matchups for other RWBY characters are, and we're going to basically discuss our thoughts on them.
Yeah. Oh, and I should mention, they said in the commentary for Blade vs. Mikasa that if they were doing a Rooster Teeth character, it'd probably just be one a year.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the right thing to do.
Yeah, so we're not expecting,
I agree with that.
We're not expecting any of these to happen in the later half of the season. Like, no.
No. This is a hypothetical for the future.
Yeah.
So, which one do you want to talk about first?
I mean, the first one I want to talk about is one that's been popular for a long time. I wanted this as well. I still want it, because the fight would be freaking cool. Pura versus Carolina from Red vs. Blue.
On one hand, I completely understand, because it's basically Rooster Teeth's two most popular and successful franchises, and they've never actually combated each other, so it makes sense from that perspective.
Yeah, and like
they're,
Red versus
they're
Blue
also
versus RWBY matchups, they're kind of easy to make.
yeah,
But
this
some of them
one's the
work better than
are
others.
dumb.
I think
Yeah.
there are two that work the best.
Yeah, but this one works the best of those two.
I mean, it could be debatable with this or the other one. I will bring up the other one, don't worry. But
Okay. Oh, right, that
Yeah.
one.
I just think
Pyrrha versus Carolina. A fight between a woman in a metal suit and a woman who can control magnetism.
yeah, once you realize that, it's kind of a, well, yeah. But,
Yeah. Pyrrha could crush her like a tin can.
I mean, in fairness, we've never seen her, like, crush metal in on itself. So,
Yeah, but she probably could.
yeah.
Okay, well, let's say she couldn't, and all she could do is pin her to the wall, and she can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Like, honestly,
Then she can just yuck her spear through her helmet. Like, damn.
I mean, yeah, it's basically a no-brainer. Yeah, Pyrrha wins.
Okay, as long as that's established.
But I'm just throwing this out, like, the reason I wanted it is because, yeah, these are two of the most, like, or at least, like, you know, at the time and whatnot, these two are, like, among, like, the most badass, like, fighters in each respective show. They're both Rooster Teeth's, like, you know, big shows, like, Red vs. Blue being what got them off the ground, RWBY being, like, you know, one of the things they're most well known for now.
Yeah, pretty much is the thing now.
Yeah. Both, like, on pedestals in their world. Pyrrha because of being a world-renowned fighter, and thought to be, like, one of the best fighters around. Carolina because of her top spot on the leaderboard at Project Freelancer for so long.
And Jen Brown.
Yeah, they're both coincidentally just voiced by the same person and even look alike, which is odd.
Yeah, they have this. Yeah, they have the same hair color.
And Ice.
Oh, they both have green eyes?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that part on Carolina. Dang. What are the odds of that?
Yeah. Also, like...
You have my voice. Stop having my voice. Knocks off helmet. You have my face. Stop having my face. That would just be funny.
That would actually. Yeah, I feel like that had to be deliberate, especially considering there's a landing pose that Carolina does in Season 10. Pyrrha does the exact same one in Volume 1.
That's a deliberate callback.
Yeah, so I feel like these two are basically made to be comparable. Like,
yeah. At some point, like, and maybe originally that wasn't the intent, but at one point they were like, all right, let's lean into it a little.
Yeah.
So, Pyrrha does win, but I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff you could do before Carolina loses.
Yeah, like, I even had this idea for how, like, the fight could end, which I'm
Yeah,
still
you did.
really proud of this. So,
Yeah, no, go for it.
like, Carolina would still have Epsilon with her, so she has, like, an AI assistant, like, you know, helping her out. And
yeah,
managing...
and it doesn't actually mean anything, but yes.
Yeah, so let's say Carolina's being, like, pulled apart by Pyrrha's semblance. Like, not like limbs are already coming off or anything, but
Ouch.
that's where it's gonna go. And
Oof, ouch, ouch, my bones, says the Carolina.
And Carolina's just screaming for Church to just do something. But then, like, the scene freezes, and for a second you're just like, wait, what's going on? And we're seeing it from Epsilon's perspective. I don't know if you ever saw this on Red vs. Blue.
I might have.
When Church, like, sacrifices himself for the final time.
Right.
Yeah, in the scene, like, the Reds and Blues are gearing up for a fight they don't think they can win. Tucker puts on, like, the Mess's suit, which has all these crazy enhancements, but Church makes a recording as, like, a final goodbye to them because he knows he can't run the suit as Epsilon.
Right.
So what he's gonna do is, like, fragment and, like, erase himself so that the parts of him that are left will be able to manage the suit and give them the best possible fighting chance.
Right.
And it's a super emotional scene, one that actually makes me tear up. So, like, what if they do something like that for Carolina, but he doesn't go into a big emotional thing, he just says something like, give her hell, sis, or, like,
Something to that effect.
Yeah, and then we see like Carolina all amped up and like full unrestrained access to every armor enhancement that she has.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just an all-out like fight between the two.
And then she gets squished like a tin can.
Or maybe not that. Like,
I know.
I don't know. I just think there's some really cool stuff that you could do with that fight.
Absolutely. I was just taking the wind out of your sails.
I know.
So, it's a fight that could happen, and it feels like it probably will. Because I feel like out of the two possible Ruby versus Red versus Blue fights that could happen, this one is more likely because the Ruby character that we'll talk about either next or soon, their matchup is more popular with a non-Red versus Blue character.
Admittedly, but I still like both ideas.
Yeah, no, they're both fine. But yeah, we're mainly talking about one of them, but we'll bring up the other one. So yeah.
Yeah, is that a good transition
Yay,
to... Oh yeah, and we just get Pyrrha back, which would be nice.
Yeah, Pyrrha's nice. She was a nice lady.
Yeah. Also, I know like people make prediction videos and they put like there's a song that everyone put in for Winter Soldier versus Red Hood. What if they just did that for like this one, just Back from the Dead?
Oof.
Although it would fit with Carolina as well because she was thought to be dead for like most of the series.
That's fair.
Then at the end of season 9, it was revealed, oh wait, she was alive, and then season 10 shows like what happened and why everyone thought she was dead.
Knock knock, it's Knuckles.
Well, I mean, it's more meta ripping out AIs from her head and throwing her off a cliff.
God damn it, the meta. This is as good a transition as we're ever gonna get, dude. Move to the next one.
Alright, so... and funny enough, we were talking about how Pyrrha is now dead. The character that killed her, Cinder. She has two opponents I really like.
Yeah, I feel like the first one is more likely than the second, but the second isn't impossible.
I think we should talk about the second one first. Like,
because there's less to say.
Yeah. The meta.
Yeah.
Like, because we were just talking about him. Two of Rooster Teeth's probably most recognizable villains. Just because, like, yeah, I know Salem is the big bad of RWBY, but...
Yeah, but Cinder was portrayed as the big bad for a long-ass time before they showed that she was just a minion.
Yeah, and even then, like, when you think of a RWBY villain, one of the first ones you think of is Cinder.
Yeah, easily.
And she's also got the most screen time out of any of them.
Yeah, without question.
Yeah. The meta is, like, one of, like, I still say, like, the best, like, Red vs. Blue villain.
Wow.
That's just my opinion.
Hot takes. Maybe. I don't know the general consensus.
Yeah.
Hot takes!
But yeah, they've also got a whole thing where they're constantly after power, but they're just becoming a monster the whole time.
More crazy pants.
That too.
They are crazy, and their pants are crazy too.
And I've also got the whole, like, fire aesthetic going on.
Yeah, so, does Cinder annihilate that nerd? Or
oh, yeah, big time.
Oh, okay.
But, like, this is something...
I'll be real, I didn't know enough about the meta to be 100% sure.
This is something that I always thought, okay, this is like the contrast to Pyrrha Carolina, because when you look at that from a surface level, it's just woman in a metal suit versus woman who can control metal. Gee, I wonder who wins.
Yeah. It's like Magneto versus Wolverine all over again.
Yeah, but with this one, it's like, yeah, Cinder has all these, like, maiden powers and all the stuff she could do, but she can't control metal, and Meta has all of these, like, armor enhancements and AI, so you'd think, oh, maybe he could stand a chance. And
what sayeth you, big-time nerd who knows the answers?
I mean, it would also just be cool to, like, see them interact.
Well, yeah, no, but I'm trying to say, like, what is it about Cinder that makes it obvious that she wins?
Well, the maiden powers and just how absurd they are.
No, so they're just higher numbers than anything Red versus Blue has ever had?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you could argue the bomb scaling.
True. But even then...
Yeah. Plus, Cinder's, like, so much more versatile, and Meta has
That's
the
true.
time stop, which could give him an edge, but it drains his suit faster than anything.
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, you said it'd be fun to watch them interact. You know who else would watch? I think it would be a little more fun to watch them interact
Cinder versus Azula.
because they are both the worst.
And both very, very, very sassy.
Very sassy, very vain, think they're the best. And I always like it when two characters with unparalleled egos go up against each other because that means one of them is going to have it get stomped out of them. And that's always fun.
Fair enough.
That being said, Cinder still she still wins.
Which is an unpopular opinion, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. But Azula's, I mean, Avatar isn't that impressive of a verse, guys. I'm sorry. Like, I liked Avatar: The Last Airbender as much as anybody. All those characters are really great, and I don't want to see them die, but, like, you gotta kind of face facts, you know?
And, okay, I'm also gonna just shoot down an argument I have seen, like, I've seen people say, oh, Azula can shoot lightning, she wins. Characters weaker than Cinder have dodged lightning.
By several magnitudes.
And,
In fact,
in fact,
Cinder can create lightning.
yeah, and also, we'll talk about this character in a little bit, Penny.
Uh-huh.
Like, she's got those lasers. Not only has Cinder dodged them, but when one was coming right at her, she, like, reacts to it, like, realizes, oh, that's a laser coming at my face, and puts her arms up to defend herself.
Yeah, so she can react to a laser, which is faster than lightning, in case you were not aware.
Yeah.
So
that whole argument is kind of out the window in my eyes.
also, Cinder can fly.
I mean, Azula can too.
Yeah, but not as good.
Hmm.
It's not as sustainable.
Yeah. Though, I will say, what I always liked about this fight is that they kind of fit the MO of who the other would go after. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
with all the fire and lightning bending Azula does, I could totally buy Cinder mistaking her for a maiden.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
she
big
thinks,
time.
oh, this is got to be the Summer Maiden.
Or something to that effect. It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that works. That works great. I want power. Give me power. And then like, after the fight ends and she's dead, she's like, I'm gonna take that power now. Where is it? KO.
And the epilogue shot is just Cinder, like, looking all confused.
Why?
Uh,
Why does this keep happening? And
hello,
it should be
darkness,
noted
my
that
old friend.
yeah. It should be noted that actually, while both of them are horrendous monsters of people, and I hate them both, and would be down for seeing either of them die, I would actually prefer to see Cinder lose. But I mean, numbers are numbers, and feats are feats. Cinder wins this.
Yeah. Also, like, I was gonna say, Azula would totally mistake Cinder for, like, some kind of new avatar because she can control all the elements.
Yeah, something. It's like, oh, hello.
Yeah. Although, to give props to Azula, considering all the time she fought Aang, she has experience fighting people who can control all the elements, so she's not helpless against Cinder.
And I'd actually say she's probably, before Azula goes insane, I'd actually say she's more cunning than Cinder is. I'd say she has better long-term planning. That's just my personal opinion on the subject, and I don't think it's enough to tip things in her favor, but I think that she'd be able to outthink Cinder more often than not.
Fair.
If nothing else, Cinder is definitely more likely to break down in the middle of a fight before Azula would. Because Azula only broke down because of a bunch of stuff in her life going wrong all at once.
Yeah.
Just Cinder, just being on the verge of losing, that's enough to make Cinder go bananas, whereas Azula will she wouldn't go nutso from just that. But, I mean, again, Cinder just has too much power she's flinging around.
Yeah. And usually in Death Battle, like, that person tends to win. Especially
Generally.
nowadays.
Yeah, generally. I mean, it's a pretty strong argument.
Yeah. And one thing that I do that makes me like this a bit more than Meta is just, like, the potential for, like, the back and forth dialogue-wise.
I want to see these two talk to each other, and I want them to talk as much as humanly possible.
Yeah. But, like, well, yeah, you can't really get that with a Meta because he just, like, growls and clicks.
Because he's a grumbly mumbly man.
Although
with throat damage.
Although you could have Cinder interact with the Sigma AI.
That's true.
Why
are you so fat? That's not an answer.
And then just a tiny man made of flames shows up and speaks for him.
Yeah, that's true. That could work. Which, obviously, you'd get a pretty fun interaction from that out of, like, what the hell is that about?
I don't know if they would do this, but could you imagine if they brought Elijah Wood back?
I doubt they could, but it would be pretty great.
Hmm.
It's still weird they got him for that a first time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was a fan of Red vs. Blue, so...
well, yeah, so, I mean, that makes it easier, but yeah, but still, it's still freaking Elijah Wood. Any ding-dang way.
Oh, and I was going to say, I like the overall theme of Meta and Cinder a bit more.
Yeah,
but,
well...
You know, either or, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I feel like they would definitely be more likely to do Cinder Azula. But if they were gonna do a RWBY versus Avatar fight...
Oh, that's a good... Oh, sorry to ruin the segue. I was going to bring this up as well.
Oof.
They somewhat gave Blake penny scaling.
They did.
So, yeah, Cinder would get that too.
Absolutely. But if they were gonna do an Avatar versus RWBY fight, I know I would like...
I would like this too. It's Jean versus Sokka.
Yeah, alright, here we go. So I got something I want to say about this fight in particular. At no point did the fight's general idea of theming ever get any weaker. Like, I feel like these two characters are still absurdly comparable to the point where I almost feel like Jean was at least mildly inspired by Sokka.
Oh, yeah, I could buy that. And
yeah.
In fact, I remember Miles talking on a panel of just, like, things that he's proud of with RWBY. And, he said he found an anime forum that listed, banned topics of discussion, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Or just Avatar, so...
Yeah.
But he checked it after RWBY came out. They updated it to include RWBY, and he was just like, yes!
Yeah! So, obviously, if you know Jean or Sokka, you know exactly why this fight thematically works very, very well, as they were both basically the more likely to be more comedic strategist members of their groups. They're both, both of them are at least decent with a sword. So they had a lot of things compared, especially the strategist thing. I think that's the thing. And then there was that comment about John saying he's more of a warrior's wolf tail kind of guy.
Yeah, I heard that when I was going back through Volume 4, and I'm just like, okay. Like,
that is literally, word for word, what Sokka calls his hairstyle. So, I'm aware that is what that hairstyle is called, but there's no way that they didn't specifically bring that up as a reference to him. It has to be.
Yeah.
Now, here's the funny thing. If this were Volume 1 Jean, maybe even Volume 2 or 3 Jean, I'd say Sokka probably wins. But then maybe after, maybe for Volume 4 or so, hey, I think Jean is starting to really edge him out a bit. I think he'd win. But now?
Yeah, Jean wins.
He so wins. I'm not saying that Sokka wouldn't still put up a really awesome fight. He could, and he would. But, yeah, Jean's aura is a little more difficult to crack. He's only gotten better with his sword. He actually has a shield. And he also has just a bunch of other supplementary gadgets now. And, he can make his shield bigger, and he's got those shield grenades.
He's got the gravity dust.
Yeah. So he can, block... He can, probably easily knock the sword out of Sokka's hand with the gravity Cthulhu attack, Yeah, this was a fight that started out incredibly even, but is slowly becoming less even over time.
Yeah.
Still would be cool though, and I want to see it though, because it would still be a funny. It would still be a funny fight. Yeah, I think that's why you would. I think that's why you should do it.
Yeah, think Hercule versus Dan, but with swords.
Yeah. Which is again, it's not to say that Jean and Sokka are jokes. It's just that's basically what their role was. Even at the end of the series and even with Jean right now, even though they've, both him and Sokka got significantly better and are, admirable warriors in their own right, they're still the weakest members of their respective groups by far. So, that's always been their thing. And they've always been more the the funny, silly guy, basically.
And you know what? They've also both lost a goal.
They did.
They quite liked.
It's true. Those were both very good girls.
Yeah.
They, despite being incredibly goofy, they're both remarkably both lucky and unlucky with women. Lucky in the sense that, wow, they went for him, but, unlucky in the sense of, being dead.
Yeah.
So, not to make that sad or anything, but...
Also, I think for Jean's favor, I would say he had better, training with his sword.
Yeah, no, Sokka got really pretty good, but he did not have as much training as Jean did.
Yeah, he only trained for, a day or two.
A little bit, yeah. And he got real fast. He got real good real fast, but even just using Pyrrha's instructional videos that she left Jean behind with him, just replicating those enough, I'd say, are enough to put him in the training advantage.
Yeah.
But I mean, it would still be such a fun fight, and it would mostly be a fight. Like, you could have moments where they are like, okay, let's take this seriously, and maybe towards the end. But up to that point, you could have them just be goofs. Have them both accidentally knock the swords out of each other's hands at the same time, and they scramble to go get them. And then maybe they get each other's swords. That'd be funny.
That would be.
It's an opportunity to be funny, and I think Death Battle can afford to do that sometimes.
What if Sokka takes his shield but accidentally sets the gravity dust off?
That would be funny. It's like, it's mine.
What's this do?
How to use that. It's a shield. Yeah, it's like you don't even know how to use that thing. Oh, it's a shield. How hard could it be? What's this? Boom! Ah! That'd be funny. I want that. It's okay to have a fight between two, goobers, and still take it seriously. So I like that idea. But there's not a ton to tell you about it, but it's just a solid idea, and I feel like it's probably one of the longest running Death Battle ideas for a RWBY character.
Yeah, I would say so.
Because I feel like anybody who was a fan of Avatar and they started watching RWBY when it came out, they'd be like, that guy's a lot like Sokka.
I mean, outside of RWBY Marker.
Yeah. I mean, man, that is deliberate as hell. Oh, hey, they're both schoolgirls with giant scythes.
Oh, we should.
Oh, by the way, we never actually.
Yeah, we should.
We never brought this up.
So yeah, because we know RWBY's going to be in a fight, and because Weiss, Blake, and Yang have been in fights already, we're not saying anything for them to get an individual episode again.
Yeah, I mean, it's not impossible for them to come back for a second one. We just don't fancy the odds being especially good.
Yeah.
But that being said, Jean Sokka, very solid idea. They can still do it. I would recommend they do it sooner rather than later, because I feel like Jean is just going to keep on getting better.
That's actually why I was hoping Blake versus Mikasa would happen sooner.
Yeah.
Although, at the same time, it waited until Attack on Titan was over to take Mikasa at her best, so...
Yeah. So, fair enough.
Yeah.
So, that's that. How about another villain fight?
Yeah, so this is one I came across recently. And when I first saw it, I was just like, wait, actually, no, that works.
It does, actually.
It's Adam versus Gideon from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
They're both hyper-obsessive, abusive, sword-wielding boyfriends. Ex-boyfriends, I mean.
Yeah.
And they suck and we hate them, and seeing one of them get killed again would be cool.
Who meet their end by their ex-girlfriend and their new lover.
Pretty much.
Although
so, I mean...
technically one of them aren't actually a couple yet, but let's be real.
Close enough.
We know they're going to be at some point, just...
It's close enough.
It works for the theme, okay?
Exactly. So, I admit to not knowing a ton about Scott Pilgrim. And I know that Amy versus Ramona came out a while ago, and they could reevaluate some stuff big time. But just going off of what I know of RWBY, and going off what I have seen of Scott Pilgrim, it sure do be looking like Adam wins that one, which is unfortunate, because we both hate him. But...
honestly, both of them are just terrible people, so either of them losing, whichever.
Yeah, so I mean, like, it's not that bad of a thing. Like, I mean, sure, I think we'd both prefer if it was Adam that bit it, but like,
I mean,
as long as some scumbag is actually getting taken out of the picture, okay.
I mean, on one hand, like, look, Adam's a terrible person, so yeah, but at the same time, like, I mean, it's still a win for RWBY.
It's still a win for RWBY.
If he does, like, I'll also admit not knowing a ton about Scott Pilgrim. The only Scott Pilgrim media I've seen is the movie.
Which isn't a bad way of getting the info.
Yeah.
But, yeah. The strongest feat any character has ever showed in Scott Pilgrim was the vegan guy who, like, did some Vajango stuff with the moon. But it was firmly established that apparently being a vegan gives you unbelievable godlike power, and Scott wasn't actually able to defeat him.
No, he had to, like, outsmart him. And, like, depower
so he had to get
him
the
first.
he had to depower him first by with yogurt or something. Either way,
I remember in the movie he did it by like he had one what was it? Like some like vegan coffee and one that was just, regular coffee.
Yeah.
And he tricked him into drinking the regular coffee. And then the vegan police showed up, and apparently he was like a multi-offender, so they depowered him, and then Scott kicked him in the face and killed him.
Yeah. So basically the thing is, you can't compare Gideon to this vegan guy, because Scott was able to defeat Gideon, but not the vegan guy. He had to outsmart him and do that, so I don't think you can compare them power-wise.
Yeah, no.
I mean, if you did, sure, I guess maybe Gideon would win, but I don't think that's solid enough scaling to work.
No, it's really not.
Whereas I feel like the moon slice through that giant honking robot is kind of enough. Which, again, is rough, because, man, screw Adam. But...
honestly, screw both of them.
Fair. Not a ton to say about that, because we don't know a ton about the Scott Pilgrim universe, but we know enough to know that it's at the very bare minimum thematic. They're both abusive ex-boyfriends with swords.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the theming works. Whether or not it's super great idea, we don't know, but it sounds like it works. So that's enough for us to at least bring it up.
And for all we know, we could come across someone else and be like, oh, you know what? They work better for Adam. Or we could find someone that works better for Gideon.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not something we're 100% hell yeah do it on, but it's something that if they did do, we would be like, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm cool with this.
Yeah, that's sort of the reaction.
Plus, like,
how about,
as much of an asshole as Adam is, I feel like seeing his abilities in a death battle, like just going ham on it, that would be cool.
He has a cool fighting style. I can't say he doesn't. So, since we're talking about bad people that I don't like, how about we move on to more bad people that I don't like?
Oh boy. I'm curious about how this one's gonna go. So, you guys remember Neo?
Yeah.
Well, one of the most popular opponents for her is Harley Quinn.
Now, you might be thinking, that sounds stupid. Why? Well, they were both slavishly devoted to their male counterpart. They're basically overly beloved and like ungodly popular henchwomen to villains, basically.
Although I will say the big difference is that Harley eventually stopped working with the Joker.
Yeah, no, fact, okay, well, hang on. As far as we know, as far as we know, Neo and Torchwick had a unbelievably better relationship.
Yeah.
They were, in fact, evil people, but for all intents and purposes, we've no reason to think that they didn't have a legitimately, for lack of a better term, a wholesome relationship.
Yeah.
They sure seemed like legitimate friends, if nothing else. Whereas, Harley Quinn and the Joker, that thing is that's highly publicized. People know about that. But the fact of the matter is they're massively, overly, insanely popular henchwomen to popular villains. And, yeah, they're henchwomen assassins, basically.
Yeah. Also, they've got the whole like the thing going on with their color scheme, like the
Yeah, they do have a similar scheme.
yeah.
Lots of pinks, but they trade the whites and blacks. But lots of pink. This is a very pink fight.
Yeah.
I mean, Harley's kind of red, but you get me.
Yeah. I also just kind of like this idea because of like just the potential for the fight and how like because of Neo's fighting style and how acrobatic Harley is.
Oh yeah, no, there's a lot of potential there actually. I also kind of enjoy the idea of the extraordinarily overly mouthy Harley Quinn trying to get a rise out of and trying to exchange barbs with the very mute Neo.
That'd be funny.
It would be pretty funny.
Also,
I can't say that wouldn't be.
Also, let's say Harley gets a bat, tries smashing Neo in the face, but it just shatters like glass because it's an illusion, and she just gets
but she doesn't know that yet. She doesn't know that. She's like, whoa.
Oh, what if they go to have a swear like in the cartoon, but then Neo cuts her off?
Like, that would be pretty cool too.
What the fuck? Bam!
Bammo! Plus, hey, Umbrella versus Bat. I'm down for it.
Or
Mallet.
Or whatever Harley uses in the fight.
I like the Mallet better, but, I mean, They basically gave her the bat because it's basically the same type of weapon, but with less Joker energy to it. That's the same reason her costume changed. Basically, them trying to make her own thing, even though really you're only going to ever get so far. There's always going to be the never-ending connection between those two characters, so there's that. But I do not like either of these characters at all. So whoever loses, I win. But in this particular instance, it's a pretty safe bet that Harley does not have any way to really get around Neo's, frankly, absurdly stupid semblance.
Honestly,
she's basically going to be swinging at air the whole dang time. Or stained glass, I guess.
Yeah, plus, Neo would absolutely get the lightning scaling. I don't know how fast Harley is.
Well, you see, there was this one time when Harley Quinn managed to steal, he managed to steal Wonder Woman's lasso of truth, and she was able to swing it around onto Batman, and he said, "Hey, Batman, where do you keep your kryptonite?" And he said, "In my pocket." All right, and then she grabbed it out of his pocket to keep Superman away from her, and she escaped from all three of them. Now, we in the business like to refer to this as really monumentally stupid. And no,
I don't know the full context, but it does sound like Wonder Woman and
I
Superman
literally gave you the context.
Oh.
Harley Quinn is chilling in a warehouse, and for reasons, it doesn't really matter. It's a bad story. Rest assured of that. For reasons, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman show up to basically capture her, and she bullcraps her way into escaping from them. This is Deathstroke manages to stab the Flash levels of, no, that's just bad writing.
Or like Spider-Man getting shot by a stray bullet.
Yeah. Or that other time when Harley Quinn ripped Lobo's head off.
Okay, no, on that one.
Yeah.
Wasn't that in Injustice, though?
Yeah, it was an Injustice, but even if she did have the Superman superpower pills that everybody was using, no.
Yeah,
she ain't beating Lobo.
Also, if they were gonna bring that up, then they would have absolutely brought up Bane holding back Doomsday.
Yeah, which they didn't because it was stupid. They also didn't bring up the fact that Deathstroke, apparently was fast enough to attack the Flash. They did for Lobo because it made sense for Lobo. Deathstroke, that was stupid, and everyone knows that was just bad writing. So, point I'm trying to get at is Neo should beat Harley Quinn.
Honestly, I get it, but I'm also totally open to arguments for Harley winning just because of how much more history she has.
True. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. Like I said, either of them losing is a win for me.
I just think the fight could be cool.
It easily could have, because, I mean, they're sadistic little freaks. They could make it work. Killshot would be probably pretty messed up, though.
Yeah. Although I realized a little something for the aftermath of this, and we've talked about it in private chats before. So
yeah, we basically have this kind of story idea for basically
no,
clubs.
not that.
Oh, okay.
I'm just talking just general fan feedback, because...
Okay.
See, DC has an interesting record in Death Battle across the 10 years. Like, DC versus Marvel, yeah, sometimes those fights go, like, whatever. Marvel versus non-DC, they get some wins, they lose sometimes. DC versus non-Marvel, however, they've won every fight.
They have a flawless record against non-Marvel characters.
Yeah, to a point where, like, a lot of the fans do just think, oh, it's, like, DC bias. Warner Brothers are paying these guys to have the DC, have our guys win. Like, no.
Because that's something they definitely care about.
Yeah, if that were the case, Lex Luthor would have beat Doom.
Easily. But he didn't.
No.
Because he wouldn't.
Also, like, do you really think DC or Warner are that pay?
I'm not at liberty to really discuss such things, as I don't actually know.
There we go, then.
But either way, it would be kind of absolutely hilarious, and I think kind of thematically fitting that if anybody was going to screw up that record, it would end up being Harley.
Or, like, just... the first time a DC character loses to a non-Marvel character is a Rooster Teeth character.
That'd be pretty funny, because then it'd be like, but wait, they're biased against both. Yeah, it would be pretty great.
Yeah. That's one where I think I would absolutely just stay out of fan feedback for that. Just like, you know what?
Yeah.
This fight is cool. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yep, staying out of that one. Nope, thank you. So, there's that. I should say that out of all of the fights that we've talked about so far, I feel like Jean, Sokka, and Pyrrha Carolina are ones that I could actually legitimately feel kind of confident saying could actually happen.
I'd also say Cinder Azula, because like they've done a community death battle on that before.
That's true. So they've at least are aware of it. But even then, I feel like slightly less certain about that. Adam Gideon and Neo and Harley Quinn, I think would be cool fights, but I also don't have high expectations for them to be things that happen.
Yeah.
Although I do have to say, I would appreciate the idea of Harley Quinn going up against someone other than Crazy Girl with Mallet, because I don't like the girl, but even I know there's more to her than that. Also, that DBX where she fought Domino was stupid.
Yeah. Also, isn't that like the reason people wanted her to fight Amy Rose?
Yes. Yeah. They both like Guy and have Big Hammer. It worked good.
You know, can I just say, like, one little grievance I do have with that episode? Like, in the...
Which episode?
Amy vs. Ramona. Like...
Oh, sure. What?
In the beginning part where they're saying, like, yeah, this is the theme of the episode before they introduce the characters, they show Harley, but instead of the movie Misery, could they have maybe had a clip of Nora?
That would have been nice.
Like...
Also, yeah, I mean... She is it's like behind most guys is a gal with a really strong hammer. I mean, it would make more sense than Misery, because that's not applicable.
Yeah, I just thought,
but Nora
that's
is.
it.
Speaking of Nora,
yep, I totally did that intentionally.
I thought so.
So I've seen Nora requested for a bunch of people. This is one I've seen get more popular in recent years.
Mm-hmm.
It's
and it sounds really weird.
Which honestly I think fits Nora perfectly.
Yeah.
It's Nora versus Ryan Hart from Overwatch.
Now I know that sounds really freaking weird, and you're like, oh, because they have hammers? Yeah, that is a factor in it. But they're both also extraordinarily high energy, morale raising members of their teams, who are also just absurdly strong. I feel like there's more going for it than against it.
Also, I just like the idea of, like, in the animation, you've got this...
like a 9-foot-tall man decked out in the heaviest armor humanly imaginable.
With a hammer,
and on the other side,
bigger
there's
than
like
people.
Yeah, and over on the other side, there's like a 4'10" girl in a combat skirt. I don't know how tall Nora is, but I know she's short.
Hang on, I have a thing.
I almost feel like you could have two Noras standing on each other's shoulders, and it would still be shorter than Reinhardt.
I'm literally looking up this thing for...
You go right ahead, go right ahead. So, I mean, it would be an interesting fight, to say the very least. And I actually feel like it has the potential for being the kind of fight where it's two characters who respect each other. It's like,
oh, yeah, definitely.
Like Reinhardt would, like, really like this girl's moxie, I think. And she would think he's a cool old man. But, like, obviously it would escalate. But I don't know. I guess it really is just the juxtaposition that really makes this idea work. But there is more to it than just surface value stuff.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, at least in the first 3 volumes, Nora is 5'1".
Okay, 5'1". Okay, and let me just very quickly check. Just very quickly. Reinhardt from Overwatch. We're doing this in real time, people. All right. Ah, well, okay. Well, first of all, he is in fact 61 years old. That's good to know. And oh, that's not actually gonna give me any information. Come on, nerdy wiki people, give me the real scoop. Okay, fine. If we're gonna be that way, then I'll just have to put it in a thing. Okay, height.
Well,
how tall is this nerd?
While you're doing that, I'm just gonna say, this would be the because I have a group of friends I play Overwatch with.
Yeah.
This would be the second time one of our mains is in a death battle.
That'd be pretty funny.
So
okay, so it's in some sort of gobbledygook language. He is 2.23 meters, and I think only aliens know how that is. So I put it in a calculator to make it into human languages, and it says he's 7'4". So there you go.
Huh.
He's still got a good solid 2 feet on the gal. That's
least.
Still a funny juxtaposition, at least. You could even emphasize it in the fight itself.
Yeah.
Although hilariously, it would make the most sense for it to be a 3D fight, which is hilarious to me. So that's just absolutely hilarious to me, because it would just look so silly. That being said, the winner
is the one with the hammer.
Well, I mean, if that's all you want to go for with on that one, then okay,
no,
fine.
I'm fine with talking about who we think wins.
All right, well then you go ahead and start.
I honestly, this is hard for me because I don't really know how strong Reinhardt is.
I mean, you can compare him to some of the things that were said in Tracer and Widowmakers. I know they're not the powerhouses of the classes in that game, but they've brought up stuff, and you can kind of get a general idea for just how strong characters. Like, okay, one of the stronger characters, Doomfist. That dude can punch down prison walls with his non-robot arm. He can basically level skyscrapers, conceivably.
Yeah, I'm actually just quickly going back through Black Widow vs. Widowmaker, because I remember there being numbers they gave, because they went with Doomfist scaling.
They did go with Doomfist scaling, and ultimately didn't really help out her. But if that is... I mean, we could be wrong. There could be stronger feats that have come out since then. I'm unaware of them, if so, but, you know, there you go. But
okay.
If that...
Yep, I feel pretty confident in saying Nora wins, even if we do the Doomfist scaling, because...
Okay.
So, you remember that low ball for Blake that they gave? The over 4 tons? And
yes.
Nora was in that as well, so she would get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Doomfist scaling is 2 tons.
Oof. Okay, well, Reinhardt is more of a defensive guy, and Nora would have to break through his shields, but any Overwatch player...
a lot longer than it does in the game.
Right. So, but even then, like any Overwatch player will tell you, a Reinhardt shield can be a pain to get through, but it's doable.
And you can work around it as well.
And the fact that Nora is probably most definitely faster than Reinhardt is.
Oh yeah, because
she has
would, get scaled to like lightning feats, whereas I think
right.
Overwatch kind of just... They can react to bullets.
Right. So even if Reinhardt had better defense and offense, I think Nora would be very comfortably outmaneuvering him to the point where he really wouldn't be able to get much done on that. And even if he did land a blow,
Aura.
We are already aware that the aura takes in a lot. Worst case scenario, Nora would just need to, you know, slurp up some electric slurry and she'll be good.
Yeah, which she can do because it's implemented into her hammer now. She just squeezes a lever and then, like,
to get the
charges
zip zap.
herself.
Word. So it's not even like it would have to be some sort of contrived coincidence that she like falls into a power line. Like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, no,
although you could have that happen, but
I don't
you
know
don't
how I
have
feel about that because it seems a little odd.
It is. So I feel like just have her activate it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, have her get on the ropes or something, and she needs a boost in speed, which we know that would also make her faster. You don't have to make her go full-on super ultra mega Thor like she did in that latest volume, but you could get close. Yeah. And if they're using the model, then they could have the scars and they could have them glow. Even though that's not a thing that happens in the show, I want it to happen anyway.
Yeah, me too, because it'd be cool.
Death Battle can do things that the show can't, so,
Although, what if they have it end, like, let's say Nora, like, uber charges herself, the scars glow again, they just, like, let's say even Reinhardt puts the shield up, and it's just a massive honking explosion.
Yeah.
And then you just see Reinhardt on the ground, and Nora's just standing there, like, dazed, going, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then, like, passes out.
Yeah, she passes out, but triumphant.
Yeah.
And I would like to quickly pull an aside here and say, we realize that all of these characters that end up winning are more than most often the RWBY characters, and believe it or not, that is not why we're doing this.
No, no.
It just so happens that the most popular matchups for the majority of the RWBY characters has the RWBY characters win. Ironically, the opposite for Team RWBY themselves, which is very frustrating. I mean, Blake exception, of course, because, you know, Blake is the absolute wonder demon. God damn, what is up with that lady? But point is, for some reason, as long as it ain't Team RWBY, the odds of winning are really good.
Yeah, and, you know, I remember, like, seeing people talk about Blake versus Mikasa, and they say, oh, it's the one RWBY win, and I'm just like going through this.
Okay, it's the one Team RWBY win. Once you open the gates to the other characters, however, I think we've proven. Yeah. And, yeah, okay, fine, we are biased towards RWBY, generally. But, like, even then, we wouldn't have any real problems with, you know, Adam or Cinder getting offed. We just think that they might probably not be.
Yeah.
That's basically the long and short of it.
Like, we're just going with matchups that we see commonly. Like, yeah, they're popular, and we think, oh yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, it's not even necessarily the fights we most want to see. A couple of them are. But, like, we're just going with the popular ones here.
Yeah.
Which I believe leaves us with 2 left?
Yeah, one of which... I've heard, like, debate about this one as well.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure on this one at all. I can't feel like we'll be able to confidently pick a winner for this one, but I still want to talk about it.
I feel like I'm gonna butcher this character's name, but...
Alyssa?
Yeah, Alyssa versus Penny.
Alyssa is from Tekken, for the record. And in case you were unaware, but you might be able to gain through conjecture that we think she should be fighting Penny, she's a robot girl. And being from the world of Tekken, now Death Battle fans might not be fully aware of this because hilariously Hayachi and Jin are some of the tamest Tekken characters. Tekken is really freaking weird. And Alyssa's a good example of that because, yeah, she is a full-on android girl who can shoot chainsaws out of her forearms and has a removable, exploding, infinitely replenishing source of heads.
Yep, that's a thing.
Yeah, so one of her trademark moves is removing her head, pushing it into someone's arms so they're holding it, and then detonating it. That's like her grab move in most Tekkens when she shows up. So, it's pretty nutso. So, it's a real question of just how strong Alyssa is. I know she's not considered a massive high tier in her universe. So, if we're just, like, comparing her to, say, characters like Kazuya, who is in Smash, which is neat, then, like, if you take the biggest numbers from Kazuya, then you might be able to say that she is this strong. And if she is that strong, how's that compared to Penny pushing the Amity Arena? And with her lasers and stuff, you know? We don't have a complete answer here.
No, really, no. I mean...
We don't actually know who wins this.
Yeah, because I don't know who Alyssa's like interacted with or like fought.
Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, she's never defeated a Jack unit. But if she has, then that would put her comparable to that meteorite feat, which might be enough.
Yeah, I think that would like be enough to beat Penny.
I believe. But then there's still other factors, you know, durability, aura, semblance, stuff like that.
I mean, you say semblance, Penny doesn't have one.
Well, she does, kinda.
I mean...
She cute, though.
My semblance has been cute.
She do be, though!
I know.
Okay, thank you. At least admit it. Gah. Point is, I don't know who wins that one. But it's a fight between Robo-Girls, and Penny has better odds against her than she does Aegis or Noelle. So how about we have those two fight each other and bring Penny down over here to this Tekken girl? She might not win it, but she has a better chance.
Yeah, and
if we're talking about having Robo-Girls fight, let's try and have them at least be in the same ballpark as each other. And I feel like this is a lot more close.
Like,
it's actually closer than Noelle and Aegis are, but yeah.
I remember on a Death Battle cast, Liam was getting quite impressed with how powerful the maidens are.
That's true. So,
and
who knows what that means?
Yeah. But, the thing is, I don't know, like, the stuff in Tekken that Alyssa is comparable to.
Right.
So, it's hard to judge. Like, I would like for Penny to win, obviously.
Obviously.
And I will just throw out there, I'm not in a rush for this fight. Because,
if Penny loses, it's kind of opening up some already very fresh wounds.
Yeah, I'm not emotionally ready for Penny to be in Death Battle yet.
Yeah. I mean, if she wins, okay, cool, but any chance that she doesn't, which we feel like there's a chance, hold off.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, straight up, could always use more Tekken, though.
That's true.
And it would be nice, it would be nice if they could bring in a non-Mishima family member from Tekken. Because I feel like we're definitely going to get Kazuya, especially now that he's in Smash.
In which case, rest in peace, Alex Wesker.
Yeah, basically. Albert.
Oh, Albert, sorry.
It's okay. You got the first letter right.
No, that's embarrassing. Just play the game he's in.
It's okay. Point is, chances are we're going to get the whole... Well, not the entire Mishima family. We're not going to get the Charizard to Hayachi's Charmeleon. Probably not. But the point is, it would be nice if we could get a Tekken character that isn't related to the Mishima bloodline, because there are a lot of really cool characters in Tekken, and it'd be nice if we could get some of the sillier ones. Get Yoshimitsu. That guy's weird. He can spin his katana so fast he flies like a helicopter. Just have him show up. That's weird, and nobody even knows what he is. Is he an alien? Is he a human? Is he a robot? Hell if anyone knows, but he's crazy.
Oh, is that the dude they brought up at the end of Hayachi's analysis?
Not whatever Yoshimitsu is. Yeah, that is him. Bring him in. Show to people how weird Tekken is. You only got the smallest taste with the Mishima family. They're the tame options, which is weird because they're already pretty freaking silly. You saw Hayachi kick his family members out of a spaceship.
And throw them into volcanoes.
Exactly. It's a family hobby.
Speaking of, I love how that's how Kazuya gets revealed for Smash.
Yeah.
He's just throwing everyone into a volcano.
You know, I don't know if I'm going to, but I had this idea of... Quick rundown. Every single Smash character who wouldn't be harmed by being thrown into a volcano. The answer is higher than you'd think. Tier 1. These characters can friggin' fly.
These characters have survived lava before.
Yeah, or survived something significantly stronger than that. Like
Sonic,
out of the
for instance.
Yeah, out of the characters that Kazuya... I know this has nothing to do with anything, but out of all the characters that Kazuya threw in that trailer, I think the only ones he would actually kill by doing that are Min Min and maybe Captain Falcon.
What about Marth? Well, I don't know how powerful Fire Emblem characters are.
Fire Emblem is in a weird spot. I'm going to say he's on the maybe. He might. I feel like maybe the majority of Fire Emblem characters wouldn't be able to, but I feel like maybe Robin, Byleth, and Corrin could. So maybe Marth too. Point is, hucking Ganondorf and Pit inside a pool of lava ain't doing nothing, is what I'm really getting at here. And Kirby, obviously.
That Kirby one is the best, because he looks over the edge.
It's like,
and it's just like...
Is he down there? Can't stop the curb.
Nope.
All right, then. So, yeah. Bring in more Tekken, if nothing else. This fight sounds like a fun idea, if nothing else. Anyway, So I guess that leaves us with our finisher.
Yeah, so
This is a fight we legitimately actually hope happens. And if nothing else, I want to try to make it myself if they never do it, because it sounds fun as hell.
alright, so you guys remember how we said we're not going to be requesting Team RWBY?
Individually.
Yeah, never said anything about them as a team.
Now, I really want you guys to think about this if you're watching this. It's almost 2 hours long, but if you're still here, we love you.
Yeah.
If you're still here and watching, then think about it. What's another 4-person team that could go up against Team RWBY? Think about it. Just think about it. There are a couple teams of 4 that could conceivably work.
But we know
But I'm just saying.
one it has to be.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's very fitting because I feel like Ruby, Weiss, Blake, and Yang have definitely established, I mean, in the case of 2 of them, but generally the whole general idea, is they've established a very strong sisterhood. So what's a good competition for that? Maybe a team known for their brotherhoods.
Should we just drop it and say it?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I want you to do it.
Yep, it's Team RWBY versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I think this would be a really awesome fight.
Oh, if anything, just because of, like, both teams of 4 just fighting all at once.
And it would be teamwork involved. And we all know that Death Battle needs more team fights, but we also understand why it's tricky, because there's a lot of variables.
Yeah, and there's also just, like, a lot of models that they'd have to put into the animation all at once.
But here's the thing. I mean, and this is us actually even thinking pragmatically. It's like, all right, so a team fight. What could they do? What could they make that would be, you know, easy enough, you know? Well, they have access to all the RWBY models just right over there.
And in theory, you just have to make one turtle model and then recolor the headband.
Or just yoink the ones from Injustice 2.
I mean, they don't really do that all that much anymore. At least not.
I know. I'm just saying.
Fights.
I know that. I'm just saying that if they wanted to cut a corner for budgetary reasons, they could.
Yeah, true.
Point is, yeah, they'd probably make a single turtle model and just recolor the headbands because that works.
Yeah.
But obviously, other than this being a surprisingly cheap fight for a 3D thing and a team fight, which is something we need, these are actually pretty comparable, at least as far as the series are concerned. They're both known for fighting giant monsters and baddies of that ilk. And if you try to tell me that if Team RWBY weren't out on the town and they didn't see 4 gigantic anthropomorphic turtles walking around, you think they wouldn't think that those are monsters?
Or at least, like, what?
At the very least, what? I mean, okay, sure, Jason had the best example because he's fought in far weirder than Ninja Turtles, so it made sense he'd think it was a villain. It'd be a little weirder for Team RWBY, but it still works.
Yeah.
And we thought about this a whole bunch, and we think it's really, really cool. And other than bringing up, like, who wins, is there something you wanted to say specifically before we do that?
I mean, I guess we could just jump straight into that.
Okay, so Team RWBY wins. And I know.
Unpopular opinion, apparently.
Yeah, we know. I've heard a lot of people say otherwise. I'm not saying that the Ninja Turtles don't put up a hell of a fight. They very much do.
Yeah.
And admittedly, a stipulation that I would really appreciate for this matchup would be whatever team wins keeps all 4 of their members.
Yeah, same.
Even if Team RWBY lost, which I don't think they do, but if they did, don't have any of the Ninja Turtles actually die. You could have them, like, really badly injured, sure, but don't have it be such a bittersweet victory for who does get the win.
I mean,
but I do think
with something like Red vs. Blue, I think that works, considering there's been skits of the characters getting killed off before.
Yeah, it's within the realm of, haha, we kind of expect and see that a lot.
Yeah.
But in this particular instance, have it be the whole team that survives. And, you know, it works because you can start them off, you can pair them all off, have them do their own separate fights. You know, it even works kind of thematically because, you know, I mean, you know, Yang and Raphael are both basically short-range fighters. I mean, they both have long-range options, but, you know, they get all up close and personal and stuff.
Yeah, and they're also, like, the most prone to anger.
Yeah, so, you know, there you go. And obviously, Ruby and Leonardo. We had a little bit of a discussion about who goes with Donatello and who goes with Michelangelo. It depends on whether or not you want really strict theming or if you want comedy. Because, I mean, Weiss fighting Michelangelo is inherently funny. But, I mean, if you want to... But technically, if you want to get super into it, Weiss's weapon is more a match for Donatello's bow staff than Blake's swords.
Yeah.
But,
although...
It still works easily.
Yeah, although...
Because they're the more cool-headed dudes.
Yeah, also...
I hiccuped.
Also, if we're talking, like, oh, what weapons were best, I would argue that, like, Blake and Leonardo would probably...
Yeah, probably, well. But, yeah, that fits better, but RWBY would be fighting Leonardo, let's be real.
Or even then, you could have them, like, switch.
Oh, yeah, I mean, like, the thing is, what you would do, have them start the fight, have them pair off in this very specific arrangement first, then have it then have, like, I don't know, a comedic or badass moment in each of those small things. It can be pretty quick. You actually, in the speed of a fight, you could make that happen pretty quick. And then they would switch it up, and they would just start fighting each other in a giant general sense. Then after that, focus purely on the teamwork aspect. Now, to the TMNT's credit, I'd say they actually have better teamwork because they have more experience working as a team.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And ironically, they have a speed advantage.
Ironically, yeah, they actually do.
A slight speed advantage because, like, RWBY are also lightning timers, like the Turtles, but going off of the numbers they gave for Leonardo when he fought Jason, and the rest of the Turtles should be comparable, then...
However...
Yeah.
And I get to say this because it's fun for me. Weiss has this handy old ability that, the show itself, RWBY doesn't really like her to use it because it's sort of overpowered. But in Death Battle, I think they've proven that they're cool with it. Weiss can, at the very bare minimum, double all of their speed.
Yeah.
Even if she can only do it on one of them, I think that's enough. So, that kind of fixes that little problem. Despite their incredibly tough shells, of which they are very tough, I feel like the auras would definitely keep Team RWBY in the fight long enough to bypass that.
Yeah, and I know people might be thinking, but they gave Blake, like, 4 tons in her death battle, right?
They deliberately lowballed it and put it in the sidebar that actually she compares to Penny and Weiss, who have had their auras not broken before by stronger things. They specifically did that for Blake so that it looked better for Mikasa.
Yeah, also, I'ma just quickly...
He's just gonna quickly, guys. Here he goes.
I gotta go to Weiss's episode to get a number.
Oh,
right away. So, they gave Leo the benefit of the doubt and scaled him to Baron Draxa, I believe it was?
Yes.
Who survived an explosion that they scaled to, like, 12 tons of TNT, I believe it was?
Roughly thereabouts.
Yeah, Weiss is capable of, like, with her dust, dishing out over 231 tons of TNT.
Even if we're misremembering the number that was given in Leonardo's, I feel like we're not misremembering it that hard. But you mind checking just to be on the safe side so we're not idiots?
Doing it now.
Yeah. I was like, man, I don't really want to make him do that.
Tons,
but
yeah.
Okay, so then, yeah. Okay, so I mean, I guess if you want to get very strict about it, if Weiss blindsided them, then it's conceivable she might be able to do it on her own. But I'm not asking for that, as badass and amazing as it would be. I'm asking for a team thing. And, yeah, sure, we may have vividly sort of imagined how they would use all of their team-up moves to finish them off.
Also, I want to throw out, like, the numbers I was, like, going with for Weiss. Those are with dust, and RWBY and Blake also use it in their weapons.
They do. Yang, for all intents and purposes, should be able to. She just doesn't.
Yeah, that's weird.
I never understood that, but eh.
You know, if she implemented that, she could literally have, like, Pokemon moves, like Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch.
That would be... She'd have Gravity Punch, however that works.
Just, like, sends them that high in the air.
That sounds like it would work. Hard Light Punch. Regardless. We believe that Team RWBY would ultimately prevail in that battle. And, okay, sure. I'm not gonna lie and tell you that's not part of why we want it. But, like, come on.
It'd just be a cool fight.
It'd be so cool.
Oh, and I think we should explain, like, yeah, Team RWBY is stronger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We didn't even bring that part up
Because,
yeah,
if Blake got scaling to Penny, all 4 of them would. And
yeah.
You know more about Turtles than I do, especially considering you helped work on, like, Shredder vs. Silver Samurai, who the Turtles should be comparable to.
They very much are, yeah.
And
well, I mean, Super Shredder was basically shown. Oh, well, look at Super Shredder throwing an oil tanker like a beach ball at a rave. If Team RWBY are legitimately scalable to even 100th of what Penny did, that's still stronger.
yeah, because I think...
And I know it sounds really weird to think that would technically mean that Weiss is apparently strong enough to lift and throw an oil tanker. And I'm not saying I want this to happen, but yes, I do make it happen. But I mean, that just lines up. I know it sounds weird, but it's no weirder than saying that Cloud can survive an exploding sun to the face, despite the fact that not technically making sense. It's still true. It's factual. Thank you and good day, sir.
I won't lie, sometimes I have PTSD in my head about that. Just awful memories, let's just say that.
Of what?
Toxic experiences. Just...
I don't even know what you're referring to, but I apologize for bringing the memories up.
No, it's fine. You saw how I composed myself in my reaction.
Oh, right. Fair enough.
I won't lie, I was tempted in the edit just to, like, zoom in on me and just have audio of Trunks in Dragon Ball Z Abridged screaming inside his head.
Which fight was this?
Link Cloud. Just when they were talking about Supernova.
Right, you're right. Sorry. Yeah, I was just making sure that was the right one. I didn't want to be wrong, because it would have hurt my brain if I was wrong. Point is, it would really be cool to watch them fight the Ninja Turtles, and there'd be some fun interactions. There's a lot you could do with that. It also gives 3 members of Team RWBY a legitimate win that they... Like, I feel like anybody who watched Link versus Cloud, and I'm sorry for bringing it up again. Yeah, Tifa is comparable to that. That particular fight from the past would go differently now. Leave it at that.
I'm still just saying I still love that episode for a very personal reason.
I know.
And not solely because they had Yang win. God.
I'm not saying that it was.
No, because I know people in the comments would think that.
That's fair. But, yeah. So, basically, it would give... that's another thing. Like, they're Team RWBY, and sure, the show enjoyed splitting them up for a long period of time, but they're back together now, and even right now, as of recording, they're in some sort of weird beach dimension together. So, I feel like if they're going to be Team RWBY, they should fight as a team, and I think the same applies to the Ninja Turtles. I think it just makes more sense than having them go solo.
Yeah. Also, we talk about, like, Batman coming back a 4th time. This would technically mean Leonardo comes back a 4th time, but I feel like this one's extremely justifiable.
It's justifiable as he's part of his entire team. And I don't know. I feel like the Ninja Turtle Battle Royale is also kind of a unique circumstance. Either way, yeah, sure, it is technically his 4th time, and I'll take the L on that one. But, like, it's doing something different.
Yeah.
It's not just about Leonardo. It's about him and his actual teamwork and brotherhood with his actual brothers. And, then you have this whole biological versus, found family situation. Again, yeah, I know RWBY and Yang are actually sisters, but they don't look like they are, so it works.
Yeah. Also, if we're you know what, I'm not even going to go into that, but...
Okay.
You know what I was about to talk about.
I think I do. But, very casually, I just want to bring up how funny it was that Ragna... actually, in BlazBlue Crest Tag Battle, actually, like, says to RWBY and Yang, "You two are sisters?"
Oh, no.
Says the guy whose brothers was Jin, who nobody would assume that.
Yeah, no, but...
What a hippopotamus. Go ahead.
So, we bring up that, yeah, we think Team RWBY is stronger, tougher, like, more versatile because of the dust and, like, abilities
more attractive
they have.
Yeah. But I didn't say anything.
I legitimately missed what it was. That's why I'm confused.
Well, okay. Well, you can either listen back to it in recording or whatever. But what it is, I ain't saying it again. Now, continue.
I'll ask you off camera.
Okay.
So, like, a possible argument I could see is, there was this crossover with Batman and they're Injustice, so couldn't they scale that? Well, if you give the Turtles crossover scaling, you have to do it with Team RWBY. They fought BlazBlue characters.
Yeah.
So,
and I feel like nobody is going to argue that BlazBlue characters would likely beat the Ninja Turtles.
yeah.
The point is, yeah, okay, but here's the thing. It's like, yeah, well, that doesn't seem right. Well, the thing is, the Batman Ninja Turtle crossover is not canon for either of them. So if you're going to go fully, obviously non-canon stuff, then you have to do it for RWBY too. So, yeah.
And, because with Leonardo, they were giving him, okay, here's all his incarnations, but we'll go with what's consistent.
Yeah.
So, his standard stuff.
Yeah. That would basically be the same for all of them in this instance.
Yeah. But what if they wanted to expand and go for non-standard stuff and incorporate that? Well, you have to do that for RWBY too. Now, what did they get out of that?
Well, if we're expanding into blatantly non-canon stuff for Team RWBY, other than cross-tag battle and their own DC Comics crossover, which admittedly has more muted versions of the DC characters, I guess the anthology manga.
Yeah, where Weiss can summon an extinction-level meteor.
So I mean,
and
how you want to play this, guys?
And also,
I like the Ninja Turtles. They're cool, but I mean, standard set of stuff, I think Team RWBY wins. Bring in all the non-canon, like super obviously non-canon stuff, I still think Team RWBY wins.
Yeah, I'm just throwing this out there. The extinction level meteor thing, Yang stops that, herself.
Yeah.
So
now again, blatantly non-canon.
Yeah, but
we're not trying to argue that for either Weiss or Yang in actual terms. We're just saying if we're bringing in silly nonsense from their non-canon stuff, then you would have to bring in that silly nonsense.
Yeah, if you bring in this sort of thing for the Ninja Turtles, you have to do it for Team RWBY as well.
Yeah, that's all we're trying to say.
We're just trying to say, yeah, that's the fair way of going about it.
Right. That's our story, and we're sticking to it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we really want this fight because it would be cool. And when they win, they could say bonsai.
Yeah, that's another thing. I hope their end of analysis clips are their, phrases,
Cowabunga and bonsai.
Yeah. Although...
Have to. You gotta. Do it. Do it, nerds.
Although, with the actual clips, it would be kind of weird only seeing 3 of them, then 4 of them. Because Weiss doesn't do it in that scene.
No. I don't like that idea. I like Weiss.
I don't know, we could think of something else for the...
Something will work. It'll work. Have Weiss be awesome. Just do it. Just do it. Do it, nerds. You won't. Do it, nerds. Nobody from the show is watching this, but do it!
Although I like the idea of, after winning, just, RWBY, Blake, and Yang will do the bonsai thing. And you suggested this. Weiss just sticks her hand in the air and just eye rolls, but with a smile.
Yeah.
It's just yeah, this is silly, but, sure.
Yeah, basically, she's very, sarcastically go, bonsai. And have that be the end. That'd be great.
That'd be cute.
It would be adorable. And we have a weakness for cute. That's super not obvious.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's a big pile of RWBY fights that could conceivably happen on Death Battle.
Oh, I don't know if they do this, but what if they did it again? Just have Yang or Blake lose an arm.
Unnecessary, but you could make it work. But it would also kind of make things a little weird.
Let's say they take the Robo arm off, or the Turtles cut Blake's left arm off again. Whichever one happens, what if the RWBY girl just goes, not again?
That would be pretty funny. I mean, I don't know why we're referencing the Raiden fight, but it's applicable.
Oh yeah, Raiden did do that.
Yeah, he said, not again. Because he has a history of losing that specific arm. That's why they did that. Now, counting the time Wolverine did it, that would be the fourth time he had that specific arm cut off.
Oh god.
Yeah, that's why he said that the way he did. So it works on so many levels. So anyway, we're extraordinarily biased RWBY fans, but if you're watching this, I feel like you knew that.
Yeah. Also, like, for numbers and whatnot for various characters, we're going with what Death Battle have already provided.
Yeah, it's easy. They easily could reanalyze something or deem something as accurate or inaccurate. You know how it is.
Yeah.
So easily we could be misinterpreting things, and more of the RWBY cast would actually lose. But for a good couple of them, we feel decently confident. At the very least, I do feel confident about Pyrrha, Cinder, and Jean. Every other one, okay, there might be wiggle room, but those three, I feel pretty confident.
Yeah. I mean, if we had to say, like, a most debatable...
The most debatable, I mean, right now for us at least, would be Penny and Alyssa.
I mean, it's that or RWBY versus TMNT.
I guess. I still like to think they win, though.
Yeah, I do too.
And if the episode never happens, I don't know. Maybe, just maybe, if the stars align, keep your eyes peeled, maybe, just maybe I'll be able to do something. Maybe.
I mean, they did do a community death battle on it.
They did. That's true.
I think a lot of the death battle team themselves, like, said that, yeah, they think Team RWBY will win.
Oh, thank God. I may be biased. There is no follow-up. I may be biased. But I do like the Ninja Turtles. I just like Team RWBY more. It happens.
Yeah.
No.
And
Anyway,
like, look,
so,
I don't dislike the Ninja Turtles. Hell, like, when I listen to the soundtrack for Leo Jason and I hear the Heroes on a Half Shell bit in the music, I'm just like, they did the thing.
Yeah. Also, side note, a RWBY TMNT mashup song for the fight would be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're both about that rock. So just slide in the motifs for both teams. Booyah.
Yeah.
All right, then. I think we've rattled on about a large amount of silly things, and it was a good time for all, especially us.
Yeah, and
that's what matters.
I don't know, maybe we'll do this, like, for the second half of the season.
I feel like at this point we probably will, just for, you know, the giggles of it. We'll just talk about the second half, like probably all of the second half at once.
Yeah.
But this is still fun.
Yeah. Well, we're also doing our, like, regular RWBY discussions when Volume 9
starts.
Once
they come back. There might even be just straight up, like, depending on what that way forward RWBY game is. Either we'll have a video talking about it, and if it's possible and we can swing it, we might just straight up play it, okay?
I mean, here's hoping there's co-op.
Would they make a RWBY game without it?
True.
The only thing I could think of is if it were a fighting game, and even then we could still play it.
Yeah, I mean, we played Cross Tag Battle.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, I feel like I feel like no matter, if they're going to make a RWBY game of any sort, there'd have to be some degree of co-op. I guess I really am banking on the idea of it being a side-scrolling beat-em-up where you just pick, you know, a member of Team RWBY and fight Grimm and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, Way Forward is good at that.
So I guess for your LP, the thumbnail would just be Weiss and Blake.
I mean, probably. I'd probably slide the other two in just for the sake of it. Did you know RWBY is the only one of Team RWBY I've never actually drawn?
Oh, yeah.
I've drawn Blake for you. I drew Yang for a different commission of her punching Shadow's face in.
I'm friends with the person who had that done.
Yeah, so that's a thing. Ask them, I don't know. And I've obviously drawn Weiss for a multitude of reasons, but never RWBY. So, there you go. Anyway, so depending on whenever or however that happens, we'll see. Either way, we'll be back for whatever news RWBY related shows up.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll do a discussion post RTX.
Yeah,
which
maybe.
Could be both RWBY and Death Battle stuff. Who knows?
Yeah, we're if anything, we are predictable. Regardless.
No, we are predictable!
I can't believe you came into my house and you did this.
It's fun to say, okay?
Of course it is. Predictable. Anyway, hope you guys have a fantabulously wonderful time, and we will see you whenever we see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.